What's going on, everybody? We're here. We're live. Special Saturday afternoon Poker Live podcast. My name is Johnnie Vibes, a.k.a. Chicago Joey, a.k.a. Big Poppy. Actually, let's not call me that again. But actually, someone in the poker room called me Big Poppy. Shout out to him yesterday for calling me that. I was a little taken aback by that. But been a good week of podcasts, guys. We've been getting after it pretty strong. We had my man Nick Bertucci on, who was dropping knowledge. He was dropping wisdom. And, man, I love talking to that guy. Looking forward to kind of seeing how his poker career progresses. We also had, last week, we had Garrett Adelstein on the podcast. I've gotten more positive feedback about that podcast than I've gotten for anything else here at Run Up Reno, because we're here in Run Up Reno. Me and Johnnie Vibes are both here right now, but we're in different hotel rooms because probably a little bit better for the quality of the podcast. And, of course, we had my young friend, the Supreme Leader, Douglas K. Polk, on the other day. And, he had some things to say about people. He had some things to say about myself. He had some things to say about high-quality vlogs out there. So I wanted to give my man Johnnie Vibes, again, on the podcast, kind of talk to him a little more about that. And joining me today on the podcast, I need to do a proper introduction as a young man. Some of the highest quality vlogs in existence in the entire world. The best-looking vlogs, debatably, in the entire world. Actually, we can't make that statement. Some of the best high-quality vlogs in the entire world. A man has been playing poker for a very, very, very long time, battling in the Texas Holdem cash game tables on the West Coast, professional poker player for a very long time. He's been on the rise here on YouTube. Everyone seems to really, really enjoy his vlogs. I think his audience is great. He's done a lot of really cool things to give back to his community as well. And I feel like right now, sky's the limit in terms of what he might be able to possibly do with content in poker, outside of poker, because the quality is so goddamn high, as I've repeated on the podcast with Doug. So we welcome to the podcast, Johnnie Vibes. Johnny, what's going on, brother? Welcome back, man.
What's up, man? Oh, man, your intros are fire. I think I'm going to make a compilation of all of your intros, introing all the people, and I'm just going to play them when I wake up, because I think that's a perfect way to start the day.
Okay, so I have to tell you. So someone messaged me and said, hey, have you ever considered making like a introduction to your poker session, like a 10-minute or 5-minute video where you just talk like that and you get someone fired up to go play poker? And I was like, that's a great idea, because I feel like I would bring the fucking energy, the heat, the excitement, kind of get you in that right mindset to go out there and crush people out there. So I would be a great idea. That would actually, it's a pretty fun idea, man.
No, I think it's a great idea. It's I've been using this app called Prime to Mine, and I absolutely love it. It's by Elliot Rowe, and I think Fedor Holtz is part of it as well. Mm-hmm. And I've been listening to it every morning. And, right at the end, it's like meditation, but at the end, it's like affirmations as well. So as soon as he counts you down to start your day, it's like 5, you're feeling great. 4, you're ready to take on the day. 3, and he just like counts you in. And he's like, number 1, he's like, you're going to be opening your eyes, ready, wide awake, ready to take on the day. I feel like that's right up your alley.
Yeah, I imagine the young Prince Fedor Holtz, they go for an Elliot, they go for a more peaceful approach. I'm going for the crazy, energetic, super high energy, those kind of people approach. But I do love Prime Mind. Big shout out to Fedor. I mean, listen, the young Prince, what can you say about him, man? Starts this company, Prime Mind, many other companies out there as well, too. I think he chimed in last night. I posted a video when we were down there in the Run Up Reno. There's man, you guys got to come to Run Up Reno. It's really fucking fun here, guys. We had a bunch of games in the meetup game last night. We had one Pop Omaha table, bunch of no-home cash game tables. Johnny was down there for a little bit after he bagged the tournament, but I had a seat to my right in the great game Pop Omaha. Unfortunately, Johnny, he had to go to sleep. It's a long day, something like that. Not sure we couldn't get him in the game, but vice versa, if it's a no-home hold'em game, I wouldn't take that seat as well, too. So what do you think about the experience here so far, bro?
This is actually my first Run It Up Reno, and it's been a lot of fun. I have only been here for one day, basically. Like, I pulled in early in the morning of the main event, and I had just gotten crushed in a big game. I was playing 10, 25, 50 somewhere in some random poker room in California on the way to Run It Up Reno. And, I mean, crushed is relative. I lost one buy-in, which is still like $5,700 in a 10, 25, 50 game. So I wanted to get my mind right, and I didn't really socialize with anybody. I late regged the tournament by 2 hours, and got a workout in, feeling good. I wanted to like mentally be refreshed before I went into the tournament. Tournaments are like brand new for me, and one thing that's obvious is that you can't enter a tournament just like rushed and feeling
right,
hungover from the night before. So I like when I went into the tournament, I was like ready to go, and when things go well in a tournament, it's a great feeling, and things went really well for me yesterday.
Well, I would like to say I agree, but I've only had things go well for me in a tournament maybe 4 times because I played 15 tournaments. So I can't quite empathize with that feeling. But there was a $40 tournament, the VFW. I went with my stepdad because me and him, the only time I play tournaments is with my stepdad a lot of times. And I took him to the VFW back home in Indiana, and I won that tournament. So I have to admit, and sure, Johnny, sure, it was 50-50. They took 50% of the buy-in, and they only gave you 50% for the prize pool. And I understand that's kind of fucked up, but that's the tournament that I won. So I have that feeling. That did feel good. So that's my one. Actually, I won a charity tournament in Hollywood. There were 6 people that entered, and my stepdad was one of the 6. So it wasn't the toughest field. But those are my experiences with Nolan Home tournaments.
Yeah, I think we have pretty similar experiences, except for my experiences with the W.
Uh-oh. We might have a freeze, guys. Oh,
It's
back.
amazing.
Okay.
What was that?
Repeat it. You froze for a little bit there, Johnny.
Oh, I was saying my experience is basically the WSOP main event, and I've gone deep in it 3 times out of the 6 times that I've played in it. Deep, nice. I've cashed. So my highest finish was 385th, and there's nothing like going deep in that thing. Like,
I can't imagine.
Your friends are like posting on your status, and they're like, "How many chips do you have now?" And they don't even know what any of this means. You're like, "Oh, I have 350K." And they're like, "Oh my gosh, you're crushing it." I'm like, "Yo, that's 20 big blinds," and they're like, "You're still crushing it." It's just like everybody that doesn't even know anything about poker is on your rail. It's insane.
It really is crazy, Johnny. I swear to God, if I win 50,000 in cash games, I post a graph. No one cares. I win a $60 tournament at the Planet Hollywood for charity when 6 players entered, and one of them was my stepdad. People love it. They go, "My mom's texting me, Joey, I'm proud of you, nice job." I'm like, "Mom, what are you talking about right now? Calm down, dude." But I've noticed that anytime you play a tournament, the support is so crazy. It's really like nothing else I've seen.
It's really crazy. Like, the entire poker media industry is built around tournaments and who succeeds in tournaments. And, like, Poker News goes to all these stops and they do the live reporting on tournaments. And I really got a glimpse of this when I went to the GPI Awards, because I felt like such an outsider there. It was like their own little club of like all these people that play tournaments and all the reporters that report on all these people.
People giving the hand jobs under the table. Did you see that?
I actually didn't see that.
My first award show, I did. Well, it's a long story, but can continue on. So you're there.
Well, I was sitting at the vloggers table. I was sitting there with Brad Owen. I was sitting there with Marley, and so we were kind of off in the corner, not privy to this whole world. But it's like an eye opener that people that play cash games, like, nobody really cares. Like you said, you could win 50,000 online, and it's like, but how much did you lose?
Yeah.
But a tournament's like, yeah, well, first of all, it does feel really great to go deep in a tournament, but second of all, like, there's a lot of glory involved with running deep and things like that, and prestige. It's pretty crazy. Like, it's weird that the Hendon Mop doesn't really track buy-ins, so you never really know, like, how much.
You think so?
You never really know how much people are firing. Somebody could have fired $2 million and have 2 million in scores, and everybody's like, "Wow, that guy has 2 million in cashes. He must be like absolutely amazing." But we just have no concept of it.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. I mean, I've kind of accepted it. When I first started really realizing that they don't track buy-ins and people just talk about their profit in tournaments, and when I'm in cash game, I'm like, well, why don't I just talk about how much money I've won when I cash out the tables? Why am I going to talk about the times I lose at the tables? Doesn't really make much sense if you got this other form of poker that they do that. But now I've come to accept it. It is what it is. And I just go with it, man. Listen, I guess that's how we promote the game. We promote it by these high number totals and these cashes and stuff like that. Someone wins it for $8 million. Like, no, they didn't win $8 million. They usually had them pieces sold out and stuff like that. They had to factor in buy-ins and stuff like that. So those are just things I've sort of gotten used to. And
totally.
I just go with it. I don't know. I'm not sure another way to do it. You don't want to preface it every time you say it by, "Oh, well, he only had 5% of himself," or "he was in for 3 bullets." And I feel like that just gets exhausting if you keep repeating that over and over and over again.
For sure. And I was basically along the same lines as you. I was in total resistance to it. For the longest time, I was like, man, tournament players suck. Like, they're like learning these 20 to 30 big blind strategies and just executing these graphs over and over. There's no beauty in the game. It's more mechanical. They're just preying on like all of these bad players that are playing in tournaments. And like, for me, I love the beauty of deep stack cash games. And honestly, there was probably a piece of it that was a little bit jealous of the notoriety that people in tournaments were getting. And that's just like if I'm like looking inwards and seeing what my resistance was to it. And honestly, I'm just embracing it now. Like if people idolize tournament players, that's fine. That's no skin off my back.
Yeah, I used to think that until I started playing some tournaments, and I realized just different game. You know, I think that tournament players are great at their format because their format's different than cash games. So while there might not be as many multi-street pots towards the end when you get shorter stack, and while I might not enjoy that, and while you might not enjoy that, a lot of players out there really do enjoy that. And there is a skill, there is an art to maneuvering there. I'm sure there'd be so many different things you'd learn how to maneuver with a 30 to 20 big blind stack that on the surface, to me, it's like, shove all in or fold, you know, that's not very fun. But watching some of these guys play super high rollerball, you can kind of see there is a lot of play. There's a lot of strategy involved. It is an art, a different art, but an art the same. Just like Texas Holdem and Pop and Omaha are different games. I'm not saying Holdem is not as beautiful. I think Holdem's a very beautiful game. Pop and Omaha obviously is the great game. So I just think it's a different thing. And I think as a poker player and as a professional, you can try and you can come to learn to respect the game, respect the players, respect the strategy, and sort of not have that approach. Because I used to think like that too when I was a little younger, and then now I've sort of come around on it.
Oh yeah, I've 100% come around on it as well. Like I totally respect the tournament crushers and the guys that are playing the high rollers and everything. I mean, their thought processes are just insane. Like what they're putting into the work of solving these tournaments. I got nothing but respect for these guys.
Mm-hmm.
The old me was like a little bit about ego and a little bit about jealousy, but I'm past that now.
Well,
I'm trying to join them now.
Well, let's talk about this, Johnny. Let's get into the goddamn topic we came here for, the controversy. All right, buddy. So I feel like we got two things here going on. First, I want to talk about, we had Doug on the podcast yesterday, and I don't know, like I said, I text you. I don't know what the hell, I don't know what's going on. I don't feel like I missed something between the history you two might have, but so Doug's on here. He's getting upset about this fake positivity. And this is something I've heard from a lot of other people in poker in terms of some of the poker players out there. This is something I've heard from Doug for a long time. The way he verbalized it, I haven't heard him ever really verbalize this intensely. And I know that one of the people he's referring to is you in this situation in terms of the person he thinks someone putting on a persona, not actually that positive. So you act to be positive, but then also say things that are negative too. And I know this is something me and you have discussed privately as well. And I wanted to discuss this publicly with you because I don't agree with Doug on this situation. Because from my perspective, to me, it seems like while you might not always be positive, that's the person that you are trying to be. And I don't think that we should look down on that because that's the way someone wants to be and wants to represent themselves. I don't think you can be positive all the time. But what's your take on that situation, Johnny?
I mean, I can see where he's coming from 100%.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I don't think Doug's ever consumed any of my content. I don't think he has ever been privy to any of my high quality blogs. Do you know?
Well, I thought he did. I said they're high quality, and I said, "Did you watch one?" He said, "I haven't watched one yet." So, yeah, I agree.
And if you actually do watch my channel's 100% about me being me, and I get messages all the time like, "Keep your head up," because obviously when you're playing higher stakes, you're gonna get crushed for big amounts from time to time, and that stuff hurts. Like. And that's the thing is I'm picking up a camera and putting it in my own face like right after these things happen. So of course it's going to be like, this sucks, man. And like that happens a lot on my vlog and that happens a lot on my Instagram. And I get messages from people saying, yo, Johnny, keep your head up, be positive. And that's just something that I'm striving to be.
Right.
I feel like the moniker of Vibes isn't something that I gave to myself. I started this company Vibes Clothing long before I started creating YouTube content. It was just like an evolution of me, having a lot of success in cash games and wanting to do something outside of poker that I thought would be fun. That's why I picked up DJing. That's why I started this clothing company. I love fashion, like all stuff that I'm into that I thought would be fun. And, me having the company called Vibes Clothing, it just naturally, Ronnie Barta actually just started calling me Vibes. Other people started calling me Vibes. And then all of a sudden, now I'm just Johnnie Vibes. I didn't choose this name. there's like I've never even called myself Johnny Positive Vibes. It's just like it's laughable to me that people just assume that I'm this like positive guy all the time in the face of things that are negative. Sure, like I'm always trying to look at the lessons that can be learned from things that happen to me that are detrimental or things that appear to be bad in the moment. Like I had an onslaught of people saying that I was a scammer, saying that I was unethical on Twitter, and that on the surface that all feels like really bad and like, but there's so many lessons in there for me. So
Mhm.
like that's where the vibes come in. It's like learning what happens to me, taking it, evaluating, and moving in a way where I'm going to learn something and moving in a way where I'm going to be a better person because of it. So it's all feedback for me. And it's not necessarily Johnny good vibes, it's Johnny living a thoughtful life vibes.
Yeah, I think kind of maybe Doug's impression of you is maybe from the tweets you put out there. And I can understand where his impression's coming from because some of the tweets that you put out there lately, maybe related to poker awards or some other things, I can see, okay, this guy seems like he's trying to be this overly positive person. But as you mentioned in the content on Instagram, that's not how you always are. That's not how you act. You wear your emotions on your sleeve sometimes too. If you lose, it's not going to be the most positive sort of thing like that. And that's kind of, I feel like those comments. And then the other thing I'd like to talk about was what you mentioned. It has to do with the markup. So you're selling a package right now at a markup. What's the markup, Johnny?
Yeah, it's 1.38.
Was it 1.4 something before, or was it always 1.38?
No, it was always 1.38.
Okay. Yeah, so let me kind of explain that to the people just so they can understand kind of what happened with that. So you put the package up 1.38, and then you had Sean Deeb chime in on Twitter, who seemed to be, I've never seen him this mad actually, but he was furious about this, calling it some sort of a scam. You're scamming the audience. You only have 60-some thousand in tournament cashes. Why is the markup so high? And then Doug came in, and that's where the words of scammer and ethical came into the picture as well too. And I know you don't feel that way. I thought you did a good job defending yourself and sticking up for yourself on Twitter about this situation, because you're like, hey, like, this is why I'm doing it. I don't think it's a scam. And then you had other people chime in as well. You had Daniel chime in. You had other people that know you as well chime in. And I personally, I'm just taken back watching this. I'm not super familiar with the markup situation, but I talked with Doug about this as well. Once again, I don't think unethical or scammer are the words you'd use to describe in this situation. I can definitely understand where they're coming from, but I feel like this is a pretty normal thing in the poker world. So I was a little taken aback by the outrage about this situation.
Yeah, I mean, I've been in the poker industry a long time, 12 years, and my tournament experience and knowledge is super limited. But where it's like scam and unethical, like those are very charged words in the poker industry, because the poker industry has been plagued with stuff like this. When we go back to stuff like Russ Hamilton cheating, like the full tilt scandal, people like the state of online cash games and the cheating and the bots and just like all of the stuff that's happened in the poker world. I don't want to rehash all of the negative things that have happened, but it's kind of a fragile industry. Like those things get thrown around a lot. And as someone that has been in the industry a long time and been affected by a lot of these things, when you have those words hurled at you, immediately when I saw that on my phone, I was like, I need to respond right now. And like I went to my phone for a full day. I was like responding, and I was in an emotional response. It was like reactionary. Like I have to defend myself because this is like so crazy. But I think that first of all, I learned a lot through this whole thing, and I think the biggest thing that I learned was that this markup is a number that's representative of your ROI. Actually, I had no idea that's what the number, like I remember the first time I ever sold for the main event, I sold at face. I just like $100 is 1%. It was like 7 years ago. I was a 2-5 player. I was like scared out of my mind playing the main event. I was like, if anybody wants to buy a piece of me, I don't know what's going to happen. This is a $10,000 buy-in. I don't play tournaments, but I'm making six figures playing mid stakes poker. I'm going to give it a shot, see what happens, And people were like, oh, yes, 100%. I'm doing buying. I was like, no problem. Just sell to people that I play poker with in the high stakes, middle stakes community in California. They bought it up, no problem. I remember after playing that tournament, I was like, wow, like this is like a really soft field, and I'm never selling at face value again. Like I'm never going to work for basically free again. And I remember I took a year off and I missed the main event. And then the next year I came back, I sold at 1.25 to the people that I play poker with. And then the next year I sold at 1.35. Then the next year I sold at 1.5. And it was like, it was never an issue. Like I was like, hey guys, I'm going to go play the main event. I'm going to sell it at this markup. And everybody that I would play poker with would just buy it up. You know, I was just like kind of looking at what people would sell across the internet. And it was like never a big deal, you know? And then now this year, because I added some more tournaments in other than the main event, I was like, I should probably bring my markup down a little bit. Like, I don't know, like 1.5 seems a little bit high since it's not just the main event. It's these other tournaments that I don't really have experience in playing these other tournaments. So let's bring it down to a more reasonable number. Like I picked 1.38. I was like, what's the number that I think my time is going to be worth investing in all this tournament, taking me away from high stakes cash games during the summer? Because this is my life, you know, like I don't make money off of YouTube. Yeah, like a couple $100 here or there. The YouTube is just me having a diary and having fun. You know, I don't affiliate. I made up my mind a long time ago that I'm never going to promote a product on my YouTube unless I actually use the product. You know, because I remember like early on when I started picking up traction, Upswing Poker reached out to me and they're like, hey, yo, sell our products on your channel. Your channel's hot right now. And I was like, no thanks. I don't use your product.
I have to say, affiliate Poppy only affiliates for one product, and that is Upswing Poker. Thank you to them. They've been very kind to me.
Yeah, but like that,
but I use their courses. I use their PLO stuff. I use the lab. So I have a lot of experience with it. It's not something I don't use.
That's my point, is that like for me to promote a product, I had to feel good about using it, and I just didn't use their product, you know. So I just kind of made up a rule that if I don't use the product, I'm never going to promote it. And it's funny, like after the GPI Poker Awards, an online poker site came to me and they said, we want to sponsor you for the summer during this World Series of Poker.
America's Carter.
And I didn't even listen to the offer. I was like, I'm not interested. I don't want to wear a patch for some online poker site because number one, I don't play online poker. So why would I promote a site that I don't even play on? So YouTube, like I'm a professional poker player, man. That's my life. YouTube is fun for me. And like inspiring people, building a community, that's all been fun for me. So the fact that like people were like saying that I'm like trying to just capitalize off of this YouTube thing. No, I was bringing my markup down a little bit to what I thought was like a reasonable value of what my time was worth to take me away from cash games. I was like, I'm going to hire a video editor this summer to help me vlog like every couple of days. We're going to document this World Series of Poker, my first time playing tournaments. I posted in my private Facebook group, a group that I run that I'm posting hands on every day. We have high stakes poker players in there giving free advice. In my opinion, it's the best free hand history review place on the entire internet. It's more traffic than Reddit poker when it comes to hand history reviews. We have crushers in there giving advice. I'm giving advice. I'm posting my own hands in there, talking about my own thought process. So when I posted it in there, I was like, you know, let's post it in there at 1.38, and the market will figure out if this is too high, if it's too low. I'll get some feedback. Poppy had sold out in like hours. And like I was like, okay, I've sold 30%. I don't want to sell anymore because like I just don't want to work for less than, you know, 70% of myself all summer slaving away at these tournaments, you know. And then later on that day, this came out on Twitter where I was a scammer. And I just got so charged up. You know, Mike Tyson has this quote that everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face, right? And my plan with trolls and the way that I deal with trolls is always to take the high road, to ignore, you know, like not worry about it. But honestly, trolls, there was a guy making videos about me online with the title Johnnie Vibes like sucks at poker, or Johnnie Vibes is an idiot. Like literally, I had somebody on YouTube create an account called Johnny's Disappointed Dad. I've had people tell me tell me that I can't beat low stakes poker. Like none of this stuff bothers me. Like this is all like my little sister like slapping me around. Like of course I'm not going to respond. But when Deeb, somebody who's been in our industry a long time, is well respected, Polk, when they hit me in the mouth, that's like Mike Tyson punching you in the mouth. And like I had a plan, ignore trolls. As soon as I get hit in the mouth by them two, I'm like, no. We're going to fight back. We're going to get in the comments. We're going to respond to everything. And to be honest, like I regret a lot of the stuff that I fought back with online because like something that Doug said that, because I listened to your podcast with Doug, and something that Doug said where he said that Phil Galfond was someone that he respected and someone that, takes the high road all the time. And I totally agree with Doug. Like Phil Galfond is such a role model in our community. And the way that I was behaving was reactionary, emotional, and it wasn't like who I wanted to be in that moment. So I learned a lot about, getting hit in the mouth like Mike Tyson,
Mm-hmm.
and I learned a lot about how I respond so that if this ever happens again to me in the future, I'm gonna be much more level-headed, much more calculated about it. So in a lot of ways, like I'm happy that all of this stuff happened because I learned a lot about myself. I also had some like really great logical interactions with people on Twitter. Like Ike Haxton chimed in, Seaver chimed in, Bill Perkins, Daniel Negreanu, Mike Mattisau. Like I'm listening to all these people, and when all these people are speaking, I'm not going to be emotionally charged with their feedback. Like I'm going to take it in, I'm going to listen. And some people pointed out some of the language that I used in my package about like refunds. So I was like, oh, I learned something there. I'm going to change the language there. And then I learned that this number is in reference to ROI. I didn't actually know that. I thought it was just a free market where people decided how much they wanted to pay for people. So I learned a lot of things, and I had a lot of logical discussions. Another guy by the name of Adam, who's a tournament guy, Ryan LaPlante chimed in. Like all these guys that I really respect chimed in, and I took a lot away from it, and I learned a lot. And it's like even though I was addicted to my phone for like a day straight, just staring at all these notifications, like how come all these people are talking so bad about me when this is like standard poker practice? Like everybody does this every day, but for some reason I'm the target of this right now. And I thought it was because I have a channel, because I could have done this like last year and nobody would have said anything, or 2 years ago and nobody would have said anything. So, but I think it's great because it brought to light this practice of selling at markup and why people do it. And there was like a logical discussion around it. Sure, like some of the things that Deeb and Polk said were not my favorite and kind of inflammatory. But at the end of the day, there was a great discussion that happened on Twitter, and I think it worked out for the better.
So I guess after this situation happens, you mentioned that you said some things that you wish you didn't said. I kind of a lot of what I read, I felt like you were pretty composed and going back and forth with Sean, but maybe some of the things that were said to Doug, and maybe rightfully so, not necessarily as composed in some of the comments, some of the responses to him. So I guess your plan and your idea is that you wish you didn't say things like that, or is that sort of where you're coming from here?
I mean, I think the major point is Doug made a really good comparison of the way that I responded to him was kind of snippy versus the way that like someone like Phil Galfond would respond.
Right.
And I took a step back and I like looked at that feedback and I'm like, wow, Doug's actually really right on here, and like he's making a valid point. Mm-hmm. So even though like he trashed me on your podcast for like 15 minutes straight, I already had a plan, man. Like I knew it was coming and I was fine with it. And what I really wanted to do is I wanted to internalize the things that weren't childish and actually listen to the points that he was making. Because Doug, to be honest, like Doug makes high quality content, and he's like one of the heavy hitters in our industry, even though he's retired. So as much as I dislike a lot of the things that Doug does, I think there's a lot of value in me listening to the feedback that he has for me.
Yeah, I think that's a great takeaway that you're having. I mean, that's what I try to do anytime I do. Because I mean, listen, I say dumb shit all the time. I do dumb shit. I make a comment. People don't agree with it. They give me feedback. Whether even Doug says, I say something, sometimes Doug gives me feedback. And I think what I try to always do is be open-minded to a lot of these things, even if it's not coming from a place of kindness. They're coming from a place of trolling or a place of being a fucking asshole to me. So when I take these comments into, I say, well, this is mean, but I can see where they're coming from. And then you have the choice as a person to decide, how do I want to take in that information? Do I want to change my viewpoint? Do I want to continue on with the same way that I'm thinking? Are they right? Are they wrong? Do I agree? Do I disagree? And it sounds like you did a really great job of that. I mean, I think that's something that a lot of people out there could be better at, because I don't see many people. I don't see many people handling a lot of situations like that. I see them fighting fire with fire very often. And
Yeah, trust me. I mean,
you know,
I wanted to go full flesh on him. You know, what's his name?
Luke Schwartz.
Yeah, I wanted to go full flesh Luke Schwartz on him. But when I really like sat back and thought about it, I'm like, what situation has ever been improved when someone is hating on someone else, when you hate back at them, and when you like add negative vibes to the situation? Like, that's just never going to work. So I think that for like the best for my own peace of mind and the best for me to move on is like, it's not to start a war with Doug. It's for me to like listen to what he has to say, take value in it, realize that Doug and I are never going to be friends. You know, like, we're just different people. He's not my vibe, so to speak. I'm just not a troll. And, you know, that's not to say that Doug's a bad person. It's just we're different people.
Yeah. So I guess regarding to the markup, and so you said you sold it out pretty quickly, right? The 30%.
Yeah. I actually never even posted about it on YouTube. And that's like another thing that people were saying, is that I'm capitalizing on my YouTube audience, but like, I never even sold to people on YouTube.
Well, I mean, in a way, a lot of the people that come in the group do come from the YouTube content.
Yeah, but these are more like technically advanced players that are talking hand histories. These are kind of like my inner circle, my inner squad of people that are like really close to me. This isn't like just casual people on YouTube. There's like almost like levels of support that people have for me.
Yeah, I guess the things I was reading were that the misrepresentation to people who are unaware of what markup is, or unaware of your tournament ability in terms of the results that you've had. That's what I seem to read about the issue that a Sean Deeb or some people out there had, was that the misrepresentation in their mind. But it doesn't sound like that's the case. And it sounds like the people that are a part of this group have an understanding that you're not a tournament player. You only have $67,000 in cash this lifetime, and that you're not representing yourself to be this top tournament player, but you are representing yourself to be a high-level no hold'em cash game player. And we've known in the past, no hold'em cash game players that are winning players usually can do pretty well at tournaments if they apply themselves to that format.
Yeah, 100%. And those $67,000 in cashes have all come pretty much from the main event. You know, so I played the main event 6 times over the course of 7 years. I cashed it 3 times, and so it's definitely like a pretty limited sample size. There's been some like tournaments that I fired here and there, like the Venetian that didn't qualify for the Hendon Mob, tournaments that I've won, you know, like when I've been coming up in poker on like a Saturday night, hanging out with like people firing on a 150 person tournament and like winning it. Like, it's just like tournaments are very soft fields, but at the same time, like, I've been a professional poker player, like can't really afford to play tournaments, like travel to pay for hotels, you know, do everything that is involved with playing a full tournament schedule. World Series of Poker is different because I can go to Vegas, spend minimal amounts of money, have a 6 weeks block of time where I can just fire tournament. You know, if there's something that's going on in San Diego, I can fire on those tournaments. But like, even traveling to Reno, the reason why I travel to Reno is because I have a VIP host here at Peppermill who takes care of my rooms when I come here, because I play high stakes poker when I come here. If my room wasn't taken care of, I would not have made the trip to come and play this tournament. You know, it's all about like the value that I see for myself, because I'm not gonna go negative value and play tournaments. Like, I'm not in it for the glory. I have to put food on the table. This is my life. Like, I'm not making money off of YouTube. I'm not affiliate. I'm not affiliating money off of YouTube. I'm not supporting online poker sites. You know, this is my way of making money, is playing poker. And if I'm gonna play tournament poker, it's got to be high value situations. And the only high value situations that I see are like the WSOP or any tournament that's in my area where I don't have to pay for travel and lodging.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, I can see that. I'm sure some tournament players would argue that there are a lot of high value tournaments out there, but that's what I hear every time a tournament player talks. They say, "Oh, this is such good value. This is such good." They find value in the $30 tournament that they win. You know, so
yeah.
they're good at that.
So I fired this tournament here at Reno, and I was prepared to just fire as many $600 bullets as possible because you can just re-enter. And I wanted to get in a ton of spots because I have like a really rigorous plan for studying for tournaments before the World Series of Poker comes. Before I put together the schedule, I reached out to a bunch of training sites and I was like, hey, I want to partner with you to really get me ready for the World Series of Poker because I'm not very experienced in tournaments and I want to go hard. Like I want to be at my best. So I reached out to Raise Your Edge because Christy, my sister-in-law, recommended them highly. And I reached out to the Sell for White team because they have like this in-person 3-day, you're at the table with RFID cards. They're, Matt Berkey, Christian Soto, Jordan Young, I think that's his name. They're like looking at your cards. You're practicing situations. You're discussing like all these spots. It's like very hands-on. So I wanted something that was self-study. That's why I partnered with Raise Your Edge. That's why I got Ben CB's masterclass. And Ben CB has been through his like people. They're like, he's willing to work with you like one-on-one for this stuff. And I'm like, wow, that's like absolutely amazing. So I wanted to get myself into spots this weekend. So I was prepared to fire. But first bullet, like, I mean, the tables were really soft. Like I get what people are saying when like there's so much value in tournaments. And
I think we have a frozen.
And a couple, but I had a couple great bluffs, some nice call downs, and won one flip, busted some people, and now I'm one of the chip leaders going into day two. It's actually kind of fun on one bullet.
The thing is, I do think if you do win this tournament, maybe we can adjust that package for a little higher, markup 1.5, because as you know, if you win a tournament, you're allowed to sell a little bit higher markup, man. Come on, isn't that how it works out? Momentum's on your side. Clearly, you know what you're doing. You won the fucking tournament. So I'm rooting for you to win the tournament, and I'm rooting for you to have a big summer. I said that on the podcast. I hope that you punish these motherfuckers that are giving the backlash, even though they may be right where they're coming from. They may, it's for me in this situation. I don't know about markup, man. I don't know about tournaments. I honestly don't even want to fucking learn about markup. I don't want to learn what's going on there. It's this world of things that I'm just very unfamiliar with. When I played tournaments in the past, I just sell at face. I feel like an idiot now. I probably should have sold some markup and got a piece of that markup money, man. I can't imagine how much some of these poker players are making on markup, Johnny. I can't imagine, bro. It's crazy.
Sure. But at the same time, like, man, I can't imagine overselling yourself and signing yourself up for that much torture, because busting out of the main event is the worst day every year for me. And to like actively sign up to play tournaments where you're only having like 10% of yourself or like nothing of yourself, like that just sounds like, why would somebody subject themselves to that much pain? I have no idea.
I don't know. I'm not sure. Wait, actually, Landon brings up a good point in the chat. He says Joey's going to play tournaments at PLO at 2.5 markup. So that's something to think about. Last year, near final table run the 10K Pop Omaha event, the 10K PLO main event. That's true. 3 cashes in PLO events. I think I played 7 events total. So I feel like maybe I am ready to get to a 2.5 markup for my package this year. I don't know, man. Why not? But like I said, you mentioned the markup has to do with the ROI. Honestly, I've never asked anyone why people charge markup. I from what I've heard in the past, they charge the markup so they can pay for the room, they can pay for travel, they have some expenses, they have some money. So I haven't really, I guess I've never dove deep into why exactly. So when it comes to this particular topic, I sort of just watch. I step back. I watched the professionals. Sean Deeb, he knows much more about this. He plays 25 million tournaments a year. So I sort of am going to defer to the experts when it comes to this particular topic. And if the topic is Pot Limit Omaha, then I'll be able to chime in on that subject. But when it comes to tournament markup for No Limit Hold'em, it's like a foreign little world to me. And it kind of sounds like you is that it was like that to you as well, too. And now from this situation, you've learned a lot about it. And now going forward, maybe you have a different mindset on how to think about it and how to approach it.
Totally. Yeah. No, I definitely, in my mind, it was, what is my time worth to play in these tournaments? But in their mind, it was, what is your ROI? Which it's kind of crazy because no one can ever figure out what someone's ROI is. It's just all just like guessing and making.
Yeah, how do they figure it out? Because I saw some people, they're like, it's a bad investment. Well, how do they know? Where? How are they calculating this? Like, how do they figure this out? Maybe someone in the chat knows. Maybe I'm not sure.
Well, that was my initial response. Was like, you're only worth this much, and I'm like, how is some nerd with a calculator telling me how much my time is worth? Like, it's my time. Like, I'm the one that's going to be sitting there. But then they're like, no, this is based on ROI. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, how do you know what my ROI is? And they're like, because of this and this and this. And I'm like, no, that doesn't make sense because I don't really play tournaments. So, like, it's just, you're just making up numbers.
I mean, I do think this is a pretty important discussion to have, Johnny, because World Series is coming up, and we know how this works. We get a lot of packages out there. You go on Stake Kings right now, there's some fucking absurd markups on there, right? Like, they look high on the surface. I look at it, I go, wow, that seems high. And I know that Stake Kings does have fees as well, too. But this is going to be something that people are going to be selling packages. And I think this situation, having awareness to the markup discussion, and maybe there is a markup police. We got Sean Deeb, the deputy of markup, apparently. I guess he's dedicating his next month to patrolling packages on 2+2+2 and on Stake Kings. So hopefully this is a learning experience, not just for me or for you or for other people out there as well, but for the investors that are going to be putting money into these packages, because you want to be investing in some good packages. You don't want to be investing in packages where where you're not going to have a return on your investment. So
yeah, totally. I think one of the people that were really vocal about, what they thought ROI was Ryan LaPlante, because he's like one of those mid stakes to higher stakes grinders of tournaments. Like that's his life. So I was really listening to what he had to say, and he just like said he thinks that a high stakes or like a 510 plus winner would be charging like 1.25 markup on the package that I put together, which it's 13% difference than 1.38. And then somebody said, well, Ryan, what would you charge for this? And he said 1.6. And that's what he would charge for my particular package, because he has so much more experience than me. So like I was learning all these things and I was taking it all in, but at the same time, there's like this free market aspect of it too, where the market decides. And if I sold at 1.25, there would be literally hundreds of people that would be upset that they didn't get a chance to buy. So, I mean, if I sold at 2.0, it would sell out quickly as well. So it's like I wanted to provide good value for people, and I didn't want to cheat myself, and I wanted to make it, something that would be a fun sweat for the fans, something that like if I cashed, they would still win a lot of money. So I settled on 1.3. It was an arbitrary number, and it's like the number that I decided my time was worth. And I'm not like backing down on the number, but I am backing down on a lot of the like stuff that I said online about just like jabs that I took at people.
Yeah. Let me get if anyone has a question in chat, I feel like this subject right here, I mean, I'm ready to move on.
I think a lot of people were like looking for like bang bangs at like Sean Deeb and Doug Polk, but that's just like not my style, like,
yeah,
I'm not going to go full Luke Schwartz. I'm not going to go Jay Nandez and like offer a boxing match.
Are you sure you don't want to do a Jay Nandez style boxing match? You want to offer the boxing match? That's hilarious.
And you know what's kind of crazy is that Doug Polk and I actually have met. We've met before, and he has no idea. He absolutely has no idea that we've met before. So maybe 3 to 4 years ago, I was playing the main event on day 2, and Doug was at my table for the entire day, getting a massage. He was sleeveless, upswing patched up. He was getting, like a girl standing over his shoulder, laughing it up.
A girl standing over his shoulder?
Yeah, I mean, we played together the whole entire day. Never had a negative interaction. He has no idea that I played day 2 of the main event with him, though. I believe I cashed that year, and I have no idea if he cashed or not.
Bang, bang.
No, that's no bad. That's like the biggest bang bang you're going to get out
of me. Bang, bang. All right, guys, let's clip that one up here. Vibes takes a shot at Doug Polk, says he can't cash the main event because he's busy sleeping in a tank top with a girl over his shoulder. Poppy. Hey, welcome to the poker world, brother. I think when you start content, everyone has a situation like this at some point in time, right? Where they start up in content, they make a bigger name for themselves, and then some people get fucking upset about some things. So I feel like that happens here, and you move past it. And I mean, I don't know. I'm just surprised the outrage kind of broke out in there, and I don't really see many other questions in the chat about this. Do I? No. Do we have any other words you want to say about this?
I mean, no. I'm past it. I mean, it's funny. I was in the chat when you were talking to Doug, but I don't think Doug's in the chat today.
No, I don't think Doug's in the chat. I mean, I think maybe he's on a trip. I don't really know what he's doing. Who knows what Doug's up to? I don't know. He was especially fired up the other day. I don't know what came over this kid. He was on another level yesterday. I don't know what this. He's like, I don't like people. I don't like people that update Instagram stories. I'm like, what are you talking about?
I think another like source of Doug's ire with me possibly could be something related to Daniel, because I remember posting on Twitter, like I woke up one day and I was like scrolling through Twitter and I was like, wow, Daniel is like the source of a lot of trolling today. Like people are hating on him. I don't even know what it was for, but like, that's pretty typical with Daniel. So I put a poll up on Twitter and I said, how much money would poker stars have to pay you to get trolled as relentlessly as Daniel Negreanu gets trolled? And I put like numbers up and I had 7,000 votes on this poll. Like I didn't, and then like people were like, F Daniel. And then Doug chimed in and he's like, oh, poor Daniel getting trolled. Like, and like I was kind of under his microscope at that point. I was under a lot of people's microscope at that point because it was like, now I'm all of a sudden team Daniel, but it was more just like making fun at how often he gets trolled.
Obviously, we can agree Daniel brings a lot of this on himself with the polarizing topics he chooses to discuss.
100%. Like Daniel is very outspoken and he's talking about a lot of political issues and like, you know, he's like vehemently, is that a word? He's
vehemently, VEHEMN. I don't know.
Yeah, defended poker stars in like situations where poker stars was clearly wrong. So, you know, I understand a lot of the things that happen to Daniel, but at the same time, like I've met Daniel a few times. You know, we're not like besties or anything. I've hung out with him a few times. I went to a hockey game with him, and I just like know that Daniel has a good heart. I literally know that he's a good person. So to see like people talking bad about him, it irritates me for sure.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Daniel has his own, you know, I think people are upset about the representation he's had for poker players out there. I think myself included, you know, he's the face and the voice of poker. And while I can desire and wish that he would speak up more on these poker issues, because when he speaks, people listen to things. And that's why sometimes 6 months go by, he chimes in. I say, hey, welcome back, buddy. Will you stick around more? Because we need you. I mean, he's one of the biggest ambassadors in the poker world. And especially with the whole entire stuff with Poker Stars went down, with the More Rake is Better movement, with the Fuck the Regs movement, with those sorts of things like that. That's why people were very upset about that and are still upset about that. Obviously, Doug, very upset about that too. There was a time I was very upset about something like that as well. So, you know, I can, and that side of situation, I get both sides, and they can be upset about him when it comes to the issues with Poker Stars. But yeah, some of the other feedback he gets on these other topics that are unrelated to poker, I don't really pay too much close attention to what he talks about politics and diets and hockey and that sort of stuff like that. So I'm not sure what exactly the conversational vibe is back and forth, but I do know it when it comes to poker related things, it's not always good. I mean, even the other,
understandable. You know, but honestly, like Daniel puts out some of the highest quality vlogs.
What? Yes, he. I don't know. Does he?
Yes, he does.
People love them. I mean, he puts them out during summer. I don't really watch them because I'm usually getting very out of line during World Series, but it seems like the audience really does enjoy his vlogs too, and would agree.
You know, like he's not sitting there editing them himself, but they're still high quality, and it's a glimpse into the life of someone who's mega rich playing tournaments. But you know, that's another story. Where my vlog is going to be this summer, it's going to be a glimpse into my life grinding lower to middle stakes tournaments and like actually trying to have like the most profitable summer that I can because my life depends on it. So I offer a little bit something different. And, you know, I'm going to be hiring an editor to help me this summer to put like vlogs out every few days because people are so intrigued by the life of a poker player. I think that's one of the reasons why people have been so attached to my channels, because I've been doing this a long time, Joey. Like I've been playing middle to high stakes cash games for 12 years as a pro. And regardless, like I still don't have it figured out, man. I'm 12 years in and I'm still getting crushed at the poker table, still like waking up and going, can I do this anymore? Am I good? Do I just suck? Have I been on a 12-year heater and all of a sudden it's like crashing down? I talk about this on my high quality vlogs on my YouTube channel. I think that
Do
I'm going to start using that
do
actually.
you
High
do
quality
you
vlogs.
do you think your vlogs are the highest quality in poker?
Um, well, I'm a little bit biased here, but I think that in terms of cinematography, in terms of storytelling, and in terms of like the stakes that I play, there's nobody that plays the stakes that I play that talks through thought process as much as I do. So I would say yes on those fronts, but like Andrew Nemi, for example, he has really high quality vlogs, but they're not mine. They're just different. They're
Mm.
produced in a different way. He fires off more hand histories than I do. You know, my vlogs maybe have like 3 hand histories per vlog, whereas like Andrew Nemi's vlog will maybe have like 8. And then like a Brad Owen vlog will have like 15. And like people love hand histories. That's why one of the reasons why Brad Owen is so popular. Like his cinematography, his production value is like pretty not very high at all. But his true personality comes through on his channel. And like I actually watch Brad and Andrew's channels, and I watch when they talk and when they talk about their life. And as soon as they start talking about hands, I just like skip through that part, and then I go to the end where they talk about what they're up to. Because like when I don't want to watch hands on YouTube either. Like poker hands are my life, so like I don't want to watch, you know, I don't want to spend my time watching someone else who plays like the same stakes or lower talk about hands. You know, like I have my own group of friends, I have my own group of crushers, my coaches that I talk to that I discuss hands with, and those are the people that I go to for, you know, my educational value. But I understand that there's like a lot of people that are casual observers on YouTube that, you know, the level of hands that I talk and the level of strategy I talk is immensely valuable for them. The level that Brad talks is so much value for them, and they're getting like 15 hands an episode. It's like it's great value. So just because, you know, I have like maybe a little bit better storytelling and better cinematography, that's not to say that my vlogs are better than theirs. Like there's a reason why theirs are being viewed more than mine, and that reason is 100% valuable.
Mm.
Like high quality is so subjective, you know.
The vlogging streets are fierce out there, Johnny. It sounds like I say I feel like there's. I mean, I'm not checking too much on how the new vlogs are going out there, but it does seem like there's new vlogs all the time, and even a new person pops up, and it seems like the people enjoy watching that, and they get a bunch of views. And I think people really just enjoy connecting with other people, and this is a
Yeah.
way to connect with them and learn about their life and learn more about who they are as a person and who they are as a poker player. So
Yeah, 100%.
I think that's a
I
cool
want to
thing.
give one more shout out to another vlogger, Jamin Burton. I
Mm-hmm.
think that his vlogs are very unique as well because they have like a lot of production value, and there's like great storytelling, and he's funny as hell. So that's another guy that I want to give a lot of props to when it comes to high quality vlogs.
Yeah, I think he actually was in the chat and he said that he bought a Justin Bieber hoodie for $150 and he cannot imagine what the markup was on that hoodie. So, and then there was also a discussion in the chat about what would happen if you wore a Justin Bieber hoodie to the poker table. Would you get more action if you wore a Justin Bieber hoodie at the poker table? And my impression is that you actually would get more action. Therefore, I want the link to that Justin Bieber hoodie so I can wear it to the poker table because I'm sure I don't get enough action as it is me being me at the PLO table.
Yeah.
What do you think? You know, would you rock a Justin Bieber hoodie at the poker table?
Yeah, I'm actually like a believer. I mean, I'm not afraid to admit that. You know, if a big black man can admit to being a believer, I have no problem admitting to it as well. Plus, if somebody doesn't like it, you know, Jamin will take care of it for me.
That's true, man. That's true. AJS in the chat. Jammin. We jammin'. I like jammin'. I like calling him jammin'. But Jamin and Marley are a secret couple. Is that true?
I
Are
don't
Jamin and
know,
Marley
but
together?
I want to
This is our
issue
first poker vlog couple?
Jamin and Marley. No, I think that Marley's looking for a poker boyfriend though.
Is she still, or did she not find one since that moment, or was there
Well,
not? I don't
I
know.
thought if she found one, there would be an announcement on her YouTube channel.
Maybe that's a good point. I don't
Yeah,
think I've
so.
seen the announcement for the poker
So
boyfriend.
I guess Marley, we're asking for an announcement on this. But I invite Doug Polk to check out my high quality vlogs because I think that he might find some entertainment value in them. There's not a ton of hand histories in them, so he won't be overly bored with the strategy. of the hands.
The-
But to be honest, like I actually consumed some of Doug Polk's content. Like his poker hands were some of the best free strategy available on the internet, because he would talk about one hand for 20 minutes, and it was like really in-depth stuff, and it was stuff that my level of poker, like playing 5-10, playing 10-25 and stuff like that, can take a lot of value from.
Next time I see Doug, I'm gonna sit down. We're gonna be sitting somewhere. We're gonna be having a drink. I'm gonna pull out my phone. I'm gonna put the kickstand back. I'm gonna put on Johnnie Vibes high quality vlog, and I'm gonna show him. I'm gonna show him what he's missing.
Yeah.
And we're gonna convert him, and he's gonna be a converter.
He's gonna be a
vibe believer. He's gonna be a vibe believer, Johnny. He's gonna be part of the Vibe Squad. He's gonna be vibing.
Should I send him a care package with like some gear?
No, I probably wouldn't. No, I don't think so.
No? You think that's a waste of money?
Yeah. I think so. Yeah.
All right. Well, I can only extend so many olive branches.
I feel like there could be he doesn't go to Rio really. I was gonna say, I'm sure like there could be. I feel like I'm who's that person that's the mediator for when people have issue? Is that like Martin Luther King? No, it's not Martin Luther King. He was more of a rights activist. Who am I thinking? Gandhi? Who am I thinking about here?
Sorry, man. I'm getting text messages. People are telling me to stop going so soft on Doug Polk and to go after him.
Are they really?
Yeah.
Oh my god! Well,
I have, like, my phone is like blowing up here with like get him right now. I think what I think. I think a lot of it is that people are really fed up with Doug's online persona. Like there's a laundry list of people that Doug has gone after, and a lot of them I feel like were like largely undeserved. Like sure, some of the stuff with Daniel was rightful. I think the level that he went after it with Daniel was probably a little bit too much, like billboards and stuff like that. Like, and then going after Marissa was like, that's just crazy to go after his girlfriend. And I'm pretty good friends with Marissa as well. So like I saw some of the way that she was handling it, and like the level of like pain that it brought to her life, and I'm just like, this is so unnecessary that he needs to do this. Calling Jason Mercier a bad reg, and showing Full Flesh's graph, and like the Jay Nandez stuff, and Dan Bilzerian, and like Tom Dwan is a scammer. Like the list is just absolutely out of control.
Okay, we can talk about a few. We can talk about a few of those right there, though, because the Tom Dwan situation, that he has a reason for that too. He, in his mind and in Jungle Man's mind, Tom Dwan did scam Jungle Man in the Heads Up Challenge. So I feel like
Jungle Man confirmed that.
I believe that's where the information's coming from. Doug's getting the information from the Jungle Man in that situation.
Oh, interesting. I thought that Tom and Jungle Man had like a private.
That's always who knows. They've had a private something for many years. It seems like here. So I'm sure Jungle Man's still holding out hope that something happens with that it gets paid back, that something like that takes place. And then you mentioned Jay Nandez situation too. Now, being a part of the Jay Nandez situation in some little bit of capacity, not knowing exactly the behind the situations, negotiating in that. That situation was Jay Nandez making a video talking about Doug in that situation, saying, this deal was unfair or whatever. Jay Nandez negotiated the fucking deal. Okay. So if you're going to negotiate the deal and then you say the deal is unfair, don't negotiate the deal in the first place. I negotiate deals and I think they're unfair. I've negotiated deals in the past with certain companies in poker that are very, very well known, and I don't feel like it was fair in retrospect, but I've never talked about it really publicly at all, and I didn't make a video about it, calling them scammers or saying anything about them like that in that situation too. So, and then you mentioned what was the thing you said before that too?
Dan Bilzerian.
Oh, well, that was Doug in his own little world. They're trying to go for the content views or something like that. I think,
no. Everyone that he's come out.
But I think from his standpoint, he feels like he is one of the only people that will call out this activity in the poker world, and he feels like it's his position to do something like that, to speak up when something is happening, like that Jungle Man situation, or with something like a Daniel happens. And I agree that billboard situation. That was a little too far. I think people did enjoy it. They found it funny, but that's kind of mean. I think that's pretty mean.
I honestly think that's the same reason why people are texting me telling me that like I have a voice in the community too, And I think
Right,
that
exactly. I agree.
I think a lot of people are really fed up with Doug's marketing antics, and they want me to be their collective voice and go after Doug. But
So
I just don't. I just don't.
what's their reasoning though? What's their they feel like he's incorrect in this, or they wish he did it, use a different tactic to do it, or what's the issue I guess people have with the way that he goes about it in terms of just being overly loud, overly mean, or what is it?
To be honest, like I don't really know, and I
Mm.
don't want to. I don't really want to go down this path of trying to like rationalize. I don't know. I mean, the Doug Polk persona online. I actually, since I don't really know him in person, like I don't know if this is just like a marketing thing where he like loves being involved in like people that are relevant, or if it's just his true like personality. But it does seem that a lot of his videos are very clickbaity, where it's like him being like, oh, and like going like this and saying like Tom Dwan is a scammer, and like Phil Hellmuth holding bars, and Phil Hellmuth is behind bars because he's ripping people off. And like, is that a marketing for views, or is that like really how he feels? Like I
That's a
don't
good
know. It's
point. Yeah.
probably somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, I think it does fall somewhere in the middle. Obviously, he does a lot of things for views when he's coming up with content strategy. Yeah, very clickbaity, very the thumbnails, the titles, and stuff like that. Yeah,
And I'm just
yeah.
like I'm not very GTO when it comes to that like kind of YouTube stuff. Like I don't, like I said, I don't affiliate things. I don't like pose for thumbnail pictures, you know, like I just take a screenshot from my video, put a little thing on it and upload it as a thumbnail. I don't use clickbaity titles like,
You
oh
seem to
my
have
god.
you seem to have the issue with affiliate. What's wrong with doing affiliate stuff?
No, I don't think there's
I was
anything.
that same way when I started. I used to say the same thing for years. I said, I'm not doing affiliates. I'm not going to, that's selling out. That's this, that. And then once I started doing an affiliate, and also it is for a good friend of mine and multiple friends of mine who have that company and their products too. So that was the first time I ever did it. But I have a much different take on affiliate now in that, especially if it's a product you use, I guess that
I mean, that's the major, that's the major point is that like, if I use a product, I have no problem with affiliating it. For instance, like Raise Your Edge, like I'm going deep with their masterclass and I love it. Like I that's what happened last night when you were down playing PLO and you were like, sit down. I'm like, I went up to my room and I spent like
hit the lab
2 hours before I fell asleep going through hand ranges, blind versus blind, because I felt like that's something that I really needed to work on. I played the whole tournament yesterday with having 100 big blinds or so. Like I just cruised. And I know inevitably I'm going to be in situations where I'm short stacked. And so like I wanted to sit down and go through Ben CB's materials on these situations. So I'm using that product. I endorse this product. I'm actually studying with this product. Eventually, you're going to see an affiliate link for them in my content. No, I have no problem with that.
Yeah, I've only heard really good things about that content as well too. Every time I've listened to Ben CB talk on a different podcast, he does a lot of collaborations with people. Very, very great mindset. I don't. Is he like a? He doesn't. Do people? We know what he looks like because he's always in like he's always like blacked out or something. Is like a silhouette of himself, but he's never actually present in any of these things.
Yeah. So I have never seen him as well, and I don't think that anybody has seen him. And so, some of the people from Raise Your Edge said that he would be willing to work with me one-on-one.
But you can't. You can't see him.
No, I think that I don't think it's going to be video. It's going to be like audio reviewing, like sharing the screen, talking over hands kind of thing. So I'm not going to be able to out him, Marshmallow DJ style.
So I've heard a rumor though.
Okay.
I've heard a rumor that Ben CB is in a Gary Vaynerchuk YouTube video.
Really? I don't know.
Yes, I cannot remember the video. I'd have to go back and watch, but there's the clip that I've seen where Gary Vaynerchuk, and if anyone's seen this, you'll know what I'm talking about, where Gary Vaynerchuk talks about how poker play, he talks about, someone asks a poker player question, and he gives this great answer for what poker players can do, and he mentions how people that used to play poker online and got really good at poker, they have the qualities and skills. Basically what I said for a long time, they have the qualities and skills to do almost anything that they want to do. And we've said, who asked that question? And somebody said that person asked that question is none other than Ben CB. Allegedly. Don't know if this is 100% fact, but
with a camera on his face?
With a camera on his face, I do believe there's a person in there, and they asked, I was like, who is this person asking a poker question? Because this is an expensive class. And I don't know if Ben CB might be upset that I may or not be putting this out there, but this is what I'm hearing is that is Ben CB in this video.
The amount of content that Gary Vee has online is
good luck finding it.
Massive. So I think that you're going to have a really difficult, like even you, investigative Poppy, I think you're going to have a really tough time locating this alleged video.
I bet I can give you the video by tomorrow, day 2 restart for yourself.
And then hold it for rent.
Joey, what are you doing right now, buddy? It's 7. I'm like, I'm in my bed trying to find this goddamn clip. I've watched 785 Gary Vaynerchuk videos today since we ended the podcast earlier.
I'm a big consumer of Gary Vaynerchuk. He's probably one of my main inspirations when it comes to social media and like the online presence that I've created. It's crazy, man. Like I remember when I first started creating videos, I just did it because I thought it would be fun. Like I just started DJing because I thought it was going to be fun. I remember I went to EDC and I was like, holy, like these guys are making some crazy stuff like in Ableton. Let me see if I can do that. And I started having fun with it, and I set a goal that like I want to DJ in a club one day. Like
we talked about this recently. Is this what you mentioned to me very recently too? That you want to do something where I think it's at overseas, right?
Yeah. So like one of the things that I'm gonna do on the vlog later on this year is I'm going to release a new Vibes product, and I'm gonna do a drop in Japan of the new product, and I'm gonna go to Japan, take the product over there.
Don't freeze again. Come back. Come back.
Where I'm DJing the club. Where I'm actually DJing at the club. I don't know Japanese. Like, I don't know if anybody in Japan's going to buy my merchandise, but it's just like, it's something scary that's like, could be fun and challenging. So I'm going to do it. I don't know. I love doing things that are fun and scary and challenging. I was down this, poker has been my life for so long. And after like year 8, I had like a stable of poker players that I was staking. I was making so much money playing 5, 10, 10, 20, just printing with my brother. My brother and I went together. We had horses, and I was just kind of burned out, and I was like, I want to start exploring other things that are fun. And I sold off my horses to my brother. Now my brother's taken that staking business, and like he's like got so many horses now. He's just crushing it. Like if I wanted to be I wish I would have stayed with him in some ways financially, because I started going down these paths that were dead end financially. Like started a YouTube channel, oh, make no money doing that. Started DJing, oh, make no money doing that. Started a clothing business, oh, lose money doing that. So it's like I have to play a lot of poker to like subsidize these hobbies.
So yeah, I know your brother. It seems like everything I hear about him, just great things about him. Great results at the poker tables. Great results in the tournament tables.
He's just absolutely insane. Like the kid, he plays the highest stakes in California. He's like he plays in casinos, so he's not privy to these underground games. So he's playing wherever he can find the biggest game, he plays in it. And then when he enters a tournament, he like wins or gets second place. And he like plays like 4 tournaments a year. Got like $800,000 in earnings. He's probably entered $150,000, maybe $100,000 in tournaments. Just like wins every time he plays. It's like, and then I see him do this, and it's crazy because 8 years ago, or like probably 4 years ago, we had identical stats. We had like the same stable. It's crazy over a huge sample size. Like we had the exact same hourly. And then I was like, hey, bro, I don't really want to be in this stable business anymore. Will you buy my horses? I'm going to start this clothing brand. I'm going to do my own things. I'm still going to play poker, and I'm still going to like play 5, 10, 10, 20 and stuff. But like you're on this like trajectory to like, that I don't really want to go down. And to see like now where he's at, I'm a little bit jealous of him in some ways, but I'm like so happy for him, how he's doing.
Man, that's awesome to hear. It's I guess it's pretty cool, obviously, to have a sibling like that who's also a great poker player, who's doing well at business, who pretty much getting after crushing really well, man. It's that's got to be a cool thing. I can only imagine if I had a little brother, or I guess my brother is little and he's 19. I don't think he's going to be a poker player anytime soon, but I cannot imagine having a sibling. Is there a little rivalry there in terms of maybe the competitiveness and stuff like that?
Yeah, growing up, like we're 2 years apart in age. We're really close in age. And I was always better at everything, like basketball, sports, like everything that we did. He was my little brother. And I think that he had a lot of like difficulties being my little brother because he was always little Mo. And then somewhere along the way, he just like kicked it into overdrive in his life, and he passed me in so many levels, and to the point of where it's now like I almost feel like I'm the little brother in a lot of ways. Like before we had this conversation, I called him up and I was like, "Bro, I need to talk to you. I'm about to go on Joey's podcast. I want to destroy Doug Polk right now because I just think that he deserves it." And we just like had this like really open conversation about like what do I really want to communicate and like who am I really. And I'm like, you know what, like I don't really want to destroy Doug Polk. That's like reactionary. Like what you just pulled out of me is what I want to communicate. So he's like my guru. I go to him for so many things. It's crazy. And he was my little brother. I'm the little brother now, and he's like this like spiritual guru. He's like telling me how I'm playing hands bad. The other day I told him this strategy that I had in a hand, and this is what he said to me. He goes, okay. He like was really thoughtful, and he goes, I want you to take that strategy that you just told me, and I want you to take it right here, and I want you to take it over here, and I want you to throw it in the garbage. And I was like, okay. And he's like, I don't want this to sound harsh, but that's fucking ridiculous. And I'm like, okay, this is what I love about my brother is that like he just gives it to me straight. Like, where else do you have a relationship in your life where somebody can do that to you, where somebody can tell you that, and you're not going to be like, hey, what the fuck, man? Like, let's battle right now. I'm like, okay, like, I get it. I agree 100%. Now tell me what I'm supposed to hear. And he'll just like give it to me straight. There's no possible way that I would be successful in poker right now if it wasn't for him and Christy. Largely him, but like also Christy as well.
Does he play PLO? I feel like I need that advice for some of the PLO hands I play. Listen, take that idea you just did, Joey. Put it over here. Put it in the damn trash, please. Never think about that again. Okay, perfect. Yeah. You're right. Good point.
Yeah, so I think that's one of the reasons why our staking business, now his staking business, has been so successful, because he's so hands-on with the horses, where every single one of his horses, they feel like family for him. Like they're like, I want to follow Andrew, and I want to do my best for him, and I want us to succeed together, to the point of where it's like almost like they're part of his family now. They're his brother. And the situations that haven't gone well, where we've had to drop people, those were very early on, because Andrew has this keen sense of like who really wants it and who doesn't want it. And like Andrew's not going to stake people for people playing 1-2. Like if you're going to be staked by Andrew, he's going to have you in the highest games like within 2 months, to like learning like on the go as fast as you can.
If you want to get staked by Andrew, please contact him right now at email at Andrew.
It already
AndrewHelpsYourLife.com. Can people out there send him a message if they're interested in this? Because it sounds like he's got the horses in the back here set up pretty nicely.
Yeah, he's got like a major horse in like most big markets of poker. And he's like over leveraged right now. I mean, he's got way too much money out in bankroll, and like he's already like stretched for time with the horses that he currently has. And it's like a long process to become one of his horses. It's not like you can just apply. It's one of those things where you kind of get invited in through like a normal process.
Mm-hmm. Is his favorite song Lil Nas X, Old Town Road, because Old Town Road has he's got the horses in the back? Does he just play that song on repeat because all the horses he has?
No, man, my brother's an old soul. He like listens to classical music, and I feel like he was like a spiritual yoga Buddha type, Gandhi type person that's just like with this amazing beard that's like, I don't know, he's just on another level.
That's awesome, man. That's I mean, it's always good to hear people speak very highly of their siblings in that type of way. And I think a lot of people out there have different relationships with their family members. Myself and my sister, not the same relationship you and your brother have. Me and my little brother, very similar kind of relationship that you might have with him, but we're much more apart in age. So I think that maybe we could say that because growing up, you were better at a lot of these things. That was the motivation for him to push himself to get to the point that he's at now and really take control and crush what he's doing.
Yeah, 100%. Like, he's always been like pretty good at a lot of things, but the poker thing was really interesting because he was good quickly. Like, I remember I was working in corporate America in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and putting on my tie every morning, driving to work, developing software, and Andrew would be on the computer. We lived together, and he would be on the computer playing on Party Poker. It was like 2004, 2003, maybe. I don't know. It was a long time ago. And I just remember thinking, like, Andrew, you're just like wasting your time. Like, you should be in school right now. And I've always just kind of tried to steer him. And then one day he's just like, hey, bro, I've been doing pretty good online playing poker. I'm like, oh man, it's like poker. Like, I didn't even know what poker was. I'm just like, you're just wasting your time. And he just started sending me, congratulations, you finished first place in the tournament. Congratulations, you finished, like the 40 in the emails that you get, the confirmation emails. One day I got like 40 of them, and I'm like I'm home and I'm like, let me see what's going on here. And he's like, oh, and he's like showing me, and I'm like, so how much did you win today? And he's like, oh, this is how much I won today. And I'm like, huh, that's pretty interesting. And then one day he walks into my room and he's like, hey, bro, I just won $16,000, which $16,000 is just like mind blowing for me at that point in my life. And for us, we grew up in poverty. We were like sleeping on people's couches at one point. So, my mom was driving a school bus when I was in high school. And my dad like was working in a factory, at a paint factory, eventually became a police officer. There was 5 kids in the house. So like the thought of $16,000 like that, I was just like, it was mind blowing. So that's kind of what opened my eyes to the whole idea that like poker can open up this new life for you. And I think getting back to Doug Polk and what he was talking about with like people that watch vlogs and being attracted to the life of a 2-5 player or a 5-10 player. Because I remember Doug mentioned something like, if you're not willing to like work to play the highest stakes, then why are you playing poker in the first place?
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was like a little bit out of touch with like what's going on in our world, because like the poker dream comes in all shapes and sizes. It doesn't mean that you have to be Ike Haxton or Doug Polk or Daniel Negreanu to be successful in poker. You can carve out your own little niche and find happiness through whatever stake you're playing. And you could be the biggest crusher in your local 1-2 game because that's all you have access to maybe in your hometown. And you could be your little local celebrity of 1-2, no limit hold'em. And you can have a great life doing that. Like, I guess the major point here is that poker has afforded me the most amazing life, and I'm so grateful for it. And while I'm not the highest stakes of crusher, I've had a lot of success. I've made a lot of money in poker, and now through the YouTube channel, like I have a voice in poker. And there's just like the places that I've traveled across the world. I'm so grateful for what poker has given me. I think that poker can be a great tool for so many people.
So I guess one of your ideas through your content is to spread that message and to influence, teach others that they can possibly do this through poker themselves as well too.
Yeah. I think that like one of the things that people come to me a lot about is that they're like, for instance, your Embrace the Grind series that I just did a series where I played 30 days in a row of poker while creating content at a $5 big blind stake, because everybody has access to a $5 big blind game. So I wanted to show people, someone that's been playing poker a long time that can play 2-5 in his sleep with his eyes closed now because I've done it for so long. This is what you can expect to make if you've worked a long time playing poker. And you can run down to your local casino and play this game. And this is the hourly that you can expect. And this is the hardships that you're going to go through. And this is the variance that you're going to experience. And these are the questions that you're going to be asking yourself. And this is like what real life is when it comes to the mid-stakes grind, which is something that's attainable for anybody in America within a couple of years. And I forgot what I was going down with this, Pat. What was your original question?
Oh, I think the original question was through your content, looking to
Oh yeah, and
inspire.
people were coming back to me saying,
Right.
"I'm so inspired by this grind. Like I don't play poker, but I have this business, and your 30-day grind has inspired me to set some new goals, some 30-day goals in my business." And I would get message after message after message of your content is inspiring, your content is inspiring me, your content is inspiring me, not necessarily in poker, but in this other thing. And I'm setting this 30-day goal in this thing. And that's addictive, man. Like anytime you people are coming to you saying that they're inspired by you, that just like gives me extra fuel to make more inspiring content. That's why my content isn't just rattling off hand histories. My content is telling a story of inspiration.
I think that makes sense too. I think I worry about, I know most poker players out there are never going to win money at poker. So, when it comes to the idea of trying to inspire more people to play poker, me personally, I kind of go back and forth on that too, just because I know how much work it takes. I know how stressful it is. I know how much you can fuck up your family. I know how much you can hate make your family hate you, not like you, not proud of you, and all these different things like that go along with it too. So I can't say I'm that excited to encourage people to also go down that path just because I went down that path. And I don't think people out there are willing to work as hard as it takes to be able to make it, even at 1-2-2-5, that sort of stake like that. So, like I said, but there's some days where I go the other way and I say, you know what, I do want to, but then other days where I think about it and I say, yeah, it's a tough fucking journey, man, for sure, to
Yeah,
even
but
become
it's
a
like
consistently winning player.
it's not our job to babysit people. Like this is America, and I think that living in America, we are so blessed to have opportunities to create the life that we want. And in 2019, despite it being such a tough climate in poker, with the amount of training materials that are available online and the free content that's available online, there's
Mm-hmm.
absolutely no excuse that you can't be a winning poker player in 2019 if you don't buckle down and put your mind to it. So like I just don't buy that, you know, if people aren't successful, it's something that's outside of their control. It's totally within their control. I mean, when we started playing poker so long ago, my brother and I would sit there and Christy and we would just talk theory. And like nobody had this written down in some book. Like we were figuring it out along the way. And I'm like, hey, bro, I just played 250,000 hands online, six max, 1-2 no limit hold'em. And I noticed this trend with ace queen offsuit when I'm in the small blind. And like we would discuss the strategy that I was three betting or that I was folding, like all of these things. And we were just like figuring things out along the way and coming up with solutions. Now that's all solved for you. You can just get a subscription to Raise Your Edge and you can just look at a chart and know what's profitable based on percentages and math that other people have done. So there's absolutely no excuse that you can't just figure it out on your own. It's not like when we were starting. Although the games were softer when we were starting, we were still having to come up with these like theories on our own.
Yeah, there wasn't. I don't think I ever read a poker book when I was starting. I loaded up 6 tables. Well, I started playing one table on full tilt and would lose all my money all the time. And then I found 2+2. I found bankroll management. I started playing 6 tables of 5 cent, 10 cent on PokerStars full ring. And from there on, I just went to 2+2, watched high stakes poker and TV poker, and just played, man. Talked to friends, played, no books. Then some videos came in maybe 6 months down the line once I was just playing poker full time.
Did you ever have like a crew that you talk strategy with?
Yeah, we definitely. That was probably the most important part for me growing up was that I had 3 or 4 guys. We would sit in the apartment together. We would be sitting. I mean, it was not, kind of shitty apartment, but there'd be. I remember one time at my buddy John's house. It'd be the bed. This would be the room, right? It'd be one bed. He'd be on the computer. My buddy Alex would be on the bed. I'd be on the floor, and then maybe Christian would be over here on another desk or something like that. We'd all be playing these different games. One guy's playing the 180 mans. Alex was playing 10 cent, 25 cent. I'm playing 20 cent, 50 cent. And we would talk hands in between, and we did that for hours, man. It was
Yeah, and then how about you give some shout outs to your homies right here, your original poker crew.
Oh man, shout out to John. I still know John. Talk to John on Twitter. Alex is somewhere in Switzerland getting some sort of doctorate for something crazy. Last I heard of Christian, he was married to some Asian. I think he went to Thailand and married a Thai girl or something like that. I believe he was big into. How the poker players, they go over there and they you can get girls for $15 or something like that. I think he may have fallen down that. Maybe Menegar. I don't really know what happened with him, but
That's
I think what happened was we all got to like 50-cent dollar, and then I started moving past that stake, and then those guys kind of stayed 50-cent dollar 1-2, and their trajectory in terms of shot taking was less aggressive than mine was. Mine was like, I want to get 25-50 as soon as I can, which was kind of dumb in retrospect. But the sun went out. Come back out, sun. Let me turn up the exposure on there. But yeah, those guys. I'm not sure what most of those guys are doing right now, man. I just kind of keep in touch with John. I know he's in esports right now. Yeah. And making content in the esports world, doing the DFS kind of stuff like that. So
what's kind of crazy is that like when you guys were in your lab, the bed and like over here in the chair, you would come up with something at like whatever stake it was or whatever game it was, and you'd be like, hey guys, check this out. Like I noticed that when I do this thing, that it's been working really well for me. And everybody would gather around your computer and they'd be like, let's see the stats. And you'd be like, watch, it's going to work. And then you would like develop these theories on your own. It was just like such a fun time in poker because the game was largely unsolved. And I don't think the game's ever going to be like fully solved, especially no limit hold'em, because, the stacks are so deep and like the variables are so crazy with 9 players at a table that you're never going to truly solve a game, multi-way action, game flow things. But like to the level of what we were theorizing before, we don't have to do that anymore.
Yeah, I've noticed that with tournaments when I was studying for the 25K PCA, and I did get some help by some good players who just sent me material that, I thank them for that. But yeah, it's crazy, bro, how many of these programs are out there and the software out there and this training material out there, the courses, free, paid, YouTube. There's so much stuff out there. It's maddening. I can't believe how much content. I think I had a tweet like that too. I was like, if you're like, there's no excuse to be really, if your goal is to be a winning poker player, there's no excuse to not at least put in a lot of effort to get to that point because there's just so much material out there. But then the question is, what material do I use? Which was a question a lot of people gave to me, because just because there's a lot of material out there doesn't necessarily mean a new player is going to pick the right material. So that's the challenge is, well, then what's best for you? What's best for me? Is something better than nothing? Is one thing a lot better than something else? Is something better than for this person than another person? So
yeah, I think that's key, is that like not everybody learns the same way. Like one person might be a more visual person. One might actually prefer audio. They might retain audio better. One might actually need to hear more theory versus one needs more time in the driver's seat. Like that's why like there's no one size fits all, but there is a path for everyone for sure.
I agree, man. It can be challenging. I mean, it is kind of tough to navigate because even when I'm getting a lot of this material in, I'm thinking, well, fuck, man, where do I start? It's where do I go first? And then, okay, pre-flop. I think my approach for tournament was pre-flop. All right, let's start with pre-flop, and then you try to memorize the charts for certain stack sizes, but then you get 40 big blinds and you get 30 big blinds, and those are different than the 10 big blinds and the 15 big blind shove spots. So I think for me, kind of that actually might be an interesting idea for you, for someone like yourself or someone like myself or someone that doesn't play much tournaments, is sort of taking people inside the journey to learn tournaments. And you mentioned you're doing the Solve for Why Academy that Matt and Christian and Jai Master and the rest of the crew puts on over there before the World Series Poker comes up. You're working with Ben CB. Might be kind of cool. I'm sure you plan to do this, but maybe document the actual learning experience that you're doing as well too, and point people to a direction of some content that you personally find helpful. And then hopefully some other players out there that are watching might say, okay, well, if he likes this and this helps him, then maybe it'll help me as well too.
Yeah, no, that's 100% the plan. Everything on my channel like is a story that's building up. And the story right now is I'm training for tournaments. And that's why I'm here in Reno. And the story eventually is going to be I'm playing the tournaments this year during the World Series Poker. And you know what's the great thing about tournaments is there's inevitably going to be pain. And people love pain because they see the realness. Actually, like one of the things that I wanted to give you feedback on, Poppy, was I read a post today on Instagram, on your Instagram, that was pretty like deep. And it was, you talked about how you've been spending a lot of time in Vegas in your apartment, you haven't been getting out. And I think that's what people are really attracted to. Like they just want to see realness. So like when I read that post, I was like, I really love this post. Makes me like Poppy even more. Like I want to see him succeed. And that's my goal, is that I want to put out content where people actually get to see the real me. So I encourage you to keep doing more Instagram posts like that, man.
Yeah, it's I mean, first of all, thank you for that, because I think things like that 24 hours a day. Those are all my thoughts that I always think about. But when it comes to sharing those thoughts publicly, for whatever reason, I just choose not to, just not deal with it. And I think it's probably a big mistake, because just for my own sanity and health, because I think in a lot of ways, when I've done these real poker talk videos in the past, where I talked about when you want to drive off the bridge after a poker session and things like that, these are things a lot of people out there do feel. And I feel like I got so much great feedback whenever I put something like that out there too. But, I don't know. It's just so against,
It's
I suppose.
vulnerable.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, very
vulnerable for
vulnerable.
sure.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
And I think that when you like back up and you overlook your life, you really are gonna embrace and love the times that you put yourself out there. Because even if it doesn't like work out in the way that you thought it would work out in that moment, there's gonna be like huge lessons in it for you, good or bad. And I think that like being vulnerable is the key to emotional intelligence. And it's one of the reasons why on my channel, like, I've talked about my stepmom passing on my channel. I've cried on my channel. I've laughed. I've told people that I think that like I'm questioning my poker ability. I show my wife, like I show my wife and I dancing at our wedding. I show my dog, like this is a diary for me. It's like me putting my life out there. I just don't want to rattle off hand histories, because 5 years from now, I'm not going to watch back these vlogs and be like, what did I do with Ace King here? I'm going to watch back this vlog because this is the vlog that I talked about and I pay tribute to my stepmom who passed. This is the vlog where I spent time with my wife in Mexico, and I want to watch that because this is a diary of my life. So sure, I could do things for views. I could make like these crazy titles. I could make these crazy thumbnails. I could rattle off hand histories and like get a lot more views. But for me, it's just me doing what I want to do, being vulnerable, putting myself out there, and having something that's like a diary for me later on that I can have.
Yeah, definitely can understand that, man. I think, you can approach Instagram or Twitter or YouTube, maybe not Twitter, but you can approach Instagram and YouTube in that way, where you want to structure the content that you post in a way that you can go back and scroll through. And I think, something I like to do is I go through my Instagram vid post sometimes, just because the posts always bring back a memory of where I might have been at. And sometimes I'm with Big J, Hungry Man. I see Hungry Man in the chat. A lot of them are with Hungry Man, where we're doing something maybe I want to forget. Oh man, Hungry Man, he's coming back to Vegas soon. Ay. But yeah, man, I love that too. I love the idea of looking back on it. Even I watch some of my old videos sometimes that are usually not poker related, but sometimes when I was playing in, I think I made some randomly in 2010 or no, 2011 or 12 or something like that. I just made these. This is the first fall. I think I may have been the OG poker vlogger, but 4 vlogs were a thing because I just opened up the camera and started talking in like a random setting in Vancouver when I lived there. But I look back at these and I say, man, it's crazy to see what I was thinking right there. And I'm so happy I documented this experience, because now I can look back at 2019 in the future and say, damn, that's the way I was thinking right then and there, because it's a lot different of a person than I am right now. It's still the same in some ways, but much, much, much different.
Yeah, totally. I've even like the evolution of my channel, I've learned lessons along the way, and I'm a different person today than I was when I first started the channel.
Do you see that though? Do you see, when you go back and you watch these, do you actually, can you see that right away when you see yourself talk?
Yeah. When I was first talking, I was trying to be professional, and I was trying to just like communicate what I wanted to communicate. Versus now, I actually like just pick up the camera and talk. It's like I'm talking to my best friend. It's like it's turned into this like diary for me, where like I don't even really think about what I'm going to say before I pick up the camera, and I just start speaking.
Yeah, I can kind of
and like the whole like Twitter thing the last couple of days, I thought that like I didn't care what people think, and this happening brought some things up where I'm like, wow, I actually do care about what some people think about me. Mm-hmm. So then I did some like internal work with that, and that would have never came up if this thing would have never happened. So like just from that one event, I'm already a different person. And like I'm never gonna be arrived. I'm never gonna be as enlightened as my brother probably, even though like I'm close to it. But it's like I'm always gonna be like working to get to that place, and like there's always gonna be new things that come up, that are gonna be hard that I'm gonna have to work through, that I'm gonna learn something about. And like the cool thing is that I'm documenting a lot of it on YouTube, and I'll be able to like relearn lessons later on when I rewatch this stuff back.
Yeah, I think that's my perception from the outside, and I guess taking away conversations that we have privately is that's what it seems like the message that you try to put out there is the idea of consistent improvement and trying to get better, embracing the hard work, embracing the issues that do come up with poker or with life or with a relationship. And it does seem like across the board in terms of on Instagram or Twitter or YouTube, you try to deliver that message out to the people out there. And I think that's a pretty encouraging message because it's not fake positive. It's not positivity all the time. Like there's not always this everything's good, everything's happy, everything's like that sort of thing like that. Although I do think that particularly statement from Doug was directed at somebody else. But yeah, I don't think that.
I think it was directed at me.
Well,
for sure.
There's other people he's talking about too in that situation. It's not a singular. No, he's talking about this a bunch of people before, so it's not just you. He calls them the Disneyland characters, right? It's like you're a Disney show and you're performing on the camera and you're always smiling, you're always happy like that. So he thinks that some people fall into that category in the poker world. And outside,
I think that like I'm glad that I had a chance to address this on your podcast, because I think that there's like a big misconception is that like I'm this like positive vibes guy, and like it's more that just like I'm this guy that really thinks about life in terms of energy, and this guy that thinks about life in a deep and meaningful way, where I'm continuously evaluating things and wanting to improve. Like that for me, that's what vibes are.
When I think of the word vibes, I just think of Tekashi 6ix9ine. He'd post these Instagram videos. He's like, man, you know what it is? The fucking vibes, it's Treyway. And I was like, I loved this fucking dude on Instagram, Tekashi 6ix9ine, man. And he would always say, the vibes, man, he just repeated that. So every time I hear vibes, I just think of Tekashi 6ix9ine. And now he's in jail, Johnny, unfortunately. So he doesn't post any more Instagram videos right now. But
was he bad? He was bad vibes then.
He was terrible vibes. Yes, he was. Bro, he was the worst vibes of all time. Come on. When he said, the vibes he's implying is he's going to, his songs are like, I'm going to kill you, I'm going to sex your girlfriend, and then I'm going to take your parents' money. It's like, is this the message we want to spread to people? I guess this is the message we want to spread to people out there, but that was the vibes he was trying to put out there. So yeah, he's in jail now, guys, unfortunately. So, but let's talk about one thing poker related, because I want to talk about a hand and a little bit live at the bike. I want to talk about a hand I posted on Instagram the other day, because nothing tilts me more than a fucking hand like this. All right, so I posted this hand you and Francisco played, and I don't know much about Francisco, but I would look at him and I would think he's snugger, but also crazy and can be capable of anything. So we have a simple hand here. You raise it up under the gun +2, ace queen. He defends the big blind after he gives a little speech, and he calls with the 9-10. Flop comes down, ace 5-7. He checks. You continuation bet the top pair, second kicker. He decides to mix it up with a little check raise with the 9-10. He check raises. You think about it for a little bit. You call. Turns the jack. He does a little chip dance. He does a little Mexican chip shuffle, do for a while. And then he bets out again. You call with the top pair. River is the motherfucking 8. Ace 5-7-8 jack. He makes the backdoor nut straight. And he does this crazy. He does like a performance with the chips, and then adds on more chips, and then makes the bet. You think about it for a bit. You call. You have the strangest look on. You're like, and which a look I would have on my face, like, wait, how the hell does he have the straight? Wait, what happened here? And then this is the part that kind of tilts me, but it's also I'm happy from that side. He looks around. He gives a big smile. Everyone at the table is shocked. And, man, those moments like that, the live poker table, some of the most tilting moments possible, especially when they're smiling, they're trying to justify their play, and you're over there sitting there saying, man, this motherfucker stacked me. So let's talk about that hand a little bit, Johnny. So ace queen, you raise it up. He check raises on the flop. We'll kind of pick it up there. What's kind of your take on Francisco?
Yeah, so there's probably something that you haven't seen, but Francisco and I have like a little bit of a rivalry developing. So
okay.
Probably about 2 months ago, I get a video message from Wino Poker. She sends me a message, and she's like, "Hey, something's going on with Francisco. I don't know what, but you should look at this." And it's a video message from Francisco that says, "Johnnie Vibes sucks.
What?
He's the worst poker player. He's tight like a clam. I'll play him heads up anytime. He's just the worst." And I'm like, that's kind of weird that Francisco would do that, because we battled on Live at the Bike before. I think that maybe Francisco take exception to my popularity or whatever it is, and he just like wants to like play me, right? So then I get another message from Ramsey, probably a month later, that says, "I want to challenge Johnnie Vibes to a heads up match." And so like we have history on Live at the Bike. I've made some really good folds against him. I've owned him in a couple spots, and he's bluffed me out of one hand. So there's like been this kind of back and forth. It's never been any animosity or anything like that. I was kind of surprised to get these messages. So I hit up Ryan, who puts the lineups together, and I was like, put me in a lineup with Francisco, like as soon as possible. So Ryan puts me in a lineup with Francisco. We go to Live at the Bike. We sit in the game. I have a great seat. I'm 2 to Francisco's right. And immediately when I come in, Francisco was like, "Hey, Johnny, I just want to apologize for those messages."
No.
And I'm like, no. No need to apologize. Like, it's fine. Like, you're just a poker player that's like challenging me. It's not, there's no hard feelings about this. Like, let's just play poker. But deep down, I know that he has this thing inside of him where he really wants to beat me out of a pot. So a couple hands go by in the session. I 3-bet him a couple times. I'm playing really well against him. I bluff him out of a hand. He makes the nut flush against me, and I just fold. He plays a hand really weird with aces when I have top pair, and I make a hero fold on the river where, in theory, I'm supposed to be calling most of the time. So I'm just like kind of owning him in this session. And then this hand comes up. where like it's towards the end of the session, and like I can just feel it. Like I know that now is the time. Like now is the time that he's been waiting for, that he's gonna go for it. Like, and there's like some physical things that I picked up on, but at the same time, it was more just like the game flow and me just having a feeling on this. And so when he check raised me, I was calling down. Like it was gonna take a river spade. I think it was 2 spades on the flop. It was gonna take a river spade and like some crazy run out for me to fold.
I don't think there was this flush draw on the flop.
There was a flush draw on the flop.
Was there?
Yeah. And I did not block that flush draw. So once he made the check raise, I had just made up my mind that I'm calling down.
No flush draw. Oh, I don't think so. I think it was a rainbow board.
It was a flush draw.
Are you sure? It was ace, 5, 7, 1 diamond, 1 club, 1 spade.
Is that what the?
Yeah.
Okay, it must have been a turn flush draw. But anyways, on the river, I was like, I just remember thinking on the river, if no spade comes, I'm making this river call.
Yeah, the backdoor flush came on the river. There was a turn with the jack of diamonds. River was the 8 of diamonds.
There was a flush
on the river. Yeah, it was the turn. The turn brought a backdoor flush draw, and the river was the 8 of diamonds. Yep.
The whole point of the story is that I had just made up my mind that I wasn't folding, right? So when he like went the line that he took, and then when I called on the river, I was just not expecting to see that hand. I was expecting to see a bluff most of the time, or some like bottom set or something like that.
This makes this story even. I'm more tilted than when I first brought this up, because I didn't know there was video. Listen, man. First of all, what kind of person sends a random person videos telling them that they suck and that they want to play? Like, what's going on with that? You guys have a history in the past or something like that?
Not really. I think it's just that it's just like an alpha being an alpha, you know? Like he just wants
I don't think that's an alpha being an alpha. You send somebody a video through Wino Poker telling them that you suck, like a random person.
Yeah, but here's the thing: is that like it doesn't upset me. Like that's
not alpha at all, though, man. That's something else right there, man.
I don't know. It's just like this is what we came back to earlier. It's like when people say things to me that are like trolling or that are like directly derogatory towards me, saying I suck at poker, like those things don't bother me because internally, like I just don't believe it.
Right.
If people say things that are, there might be a level of truth to it, or somebody that like has a big voice in the community, like what we were alluding to earlier, then it's like maybe I should take this seriously, or like maybe I should look into this. But Francisco telling me that I suck, it just doesn't bother me. I think it's just like fun banter. So, and it adds a level of metagame that I think is really fun. Like live poker has so much metagame. So when you add this another level of metagame, it's super fun at the table. And who doesn't want a recreational poker player that like has it out for you to be in the same game as you that has a lot of money? Come on, Joey, think about it.
Listen, I'm not saying I wouldn't want to play with the guy if he sent me a message like that and he was a bad player, but
I'm not saying that he's a bad player.
I gotta go. Okay, hold on, John. I'm gonna go Phil Goffon. Hold on. I'm gonna go Phil. I would handle this situation differently. I would maybe go more Doug on this one. I mean, listen, it's just being an asshole. That's all it is to it. You know what I'm saying? Not more, nothing less. This to me, my impression of that is this guy just being an asshole. That's just uncalled for. Why are you sending some guy a video? It just doesn't make sense. You suck. I'm gonna play heads up. I don't know. Whatever. It is what it is. We can move past that. But the actions like that just don't make sense. But when you do play with that guy and then he check raises the backdoor straight and makes it on you, that's gotta feel pretty sweet.
Well, it's not just he didn't just check the backdoor straight. He checked the backdoor straight with no overs. So like there's no there's no additional equity that he can have. It has to go like perfect for him to like beat me.
Yeah.
But I guess the major point to this story is that it's just fun, man. It's all in fun, and I don't take anything personal by it.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, I talk a lot at the table too, but most of my table talk tends to be rather friendly with everyone. So I don't know.
I will say that there is actually one more lesson in this.
What's that?
And the lesson is that there's no fucking justice in poker. So like quit thinking that like there's like some long run for you, or that like the karma is going to work out for you because you ran so bad. Like I looked at did you see this graph of Ryan Fee the other day? The PLO graph that he posted?
I think it was under 80,000 under EV.
I mean, not just like that right there. Like anytime I think about playing PLO, I just look at that graph and I'm like, no, never. I mean, this guy is like an absolute beast when it comes to poker. And to see him with that much negative EV in one session, there's just no justice in poker, man. We're
gonna delete this part of the podcast where Johnny points out Ryan was 80K under EV playing PLO, and that's a reason for not playing PLO. We don't want that. You're right. You probably shouldn't. It can be like that sometimes for sure. That's it's brutal, man. It's brutal. He had a huge upswing on ACR, and then here comes the downswing when you run under EV, and you just. I mean, do things like that happen at No Limit for your? No, I don't think.
No, man. Right. I mean, if you're playing high stakes poker with a lot of good players, then things do like that.
Yeah.
Because you're getting in a lot more like
closer spots, right?
Where equities are close. But when you're playing like 5-5, like I literally think that if I would have played 30 days of $5 big blind poker in a row, I probably could have won 90% of the sessions if I would have just stayed there long enough.
Yeah.
Like that's how big the edges are in No Limit Hold'em. And which is one of the reasons why people like the recreational players are leaving No Limit Hold'em and they're going to PLO, because the equities are like the variance is just like, bro, like I see it. Like I used to play in a player pool in San Diego with 5-10 players that were just some of the biggest whales. I mean, and they just loved to play poker, but they would come in and lose 80% of the sessions at No Limit Hold'em. They're just like, we start a PLO game, they just all play PLO now because they don't lose 80% of the time anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like a flip if they're going to win or not. Sure, when they lose, they're probably going to lose like 20K. And on the days that they win, they're going to win like 10K. And they're only going to win half the time. But like the point is that the variance shoots through the roof. So anything where the variance increases, that's where a lot of the recreational players are going. So things like PLO, short deck.
Mm-hmm.
Things where equities run close and the variance is high. Recreational players are gravitating to those types of games, which is why No Limit Hold'em MTTs are still soft and still very valuable, because a lot of the recreational players are playing those type of tournaments, but that's why the variance is very high as well. And like even though you may be a tournament crusher, you might break off for like a long period of time.
Mm-hmm.
So and that's one of the reasons why No Limit Hold'em at the highest stakes has become such a like Shark Tank, like so difficult to win. And one of the reasons why I don't play 25-50 with Garrett and those and Art, because I'm like so far behind those guys now. You know, like I used to play 10-20 in LA with Garrett, and he's just like elevated to this level that's just so insane. Like the edges are so small in No Limit Hold'em now that if I want to be on that level, I'm gonna have to dedicate my entire life to doing that. And with all the things that I have going on right now, it's just not gonna happen. So my choices are go play PLO with you, play a higher variance game with more recreational players. But I personally don't believe that I have like the optimal skill set to play that game, because I think that it really takes a lot of gamble that I don't have a natural disposition for. Or start playing some more MTTs, which I feel like have a natural skill set for. So I decided to like go this route and like have a little fun this summer and play some MTTs.
Yeah, plus you're already great at No Limit Hold'em, so that's like a different form of the game. But yeah, I think that like I said, I don't really encourage a lot of players to switch over. I think PL is a great game. I think that you should play it, and it's a lot of fun. But at the same time, if you're a great winning Hold'em player, man, I might stick to Hold'em. And I said this to you last night, actually. If I had to do it again, man, I don't know if I would have switched to PLO, because I was already pretty good at Hold'em, and I was already getting at the mid stakes on stars and getting on my way to the high stakes. And I cannot imagine how good I'd be now if I kept playing instead of switching over to PLO in 2010. So
no, I disagree, man. I think that you made the right move by switching over to PLO, because I think that the high stakes, the climate of high stakes right now is that the high stakes No Limit Hold'em is very tough.
Mm-hmm.
And the high stakes PLO is marginally tough. And this is just from me being a spectator on the higher stakes PLO stuff. But there's a lot more recreational players playing the higher stakes PLO, and which inherently will make it a better game.
Well, I got to tell you what, Johnny, my gray hair I'm getting from losing my mind, going crazy over those PLO swings for about 6-7 years tell a different story. They wish I would have kept playing Texas Hold'em right now, man. The gray hair is starting to come in, brother. I see you over there. Nice beard, nice hair. I don't see much gray hair. I look at me and Lex Veldhouse's hair, who switched over to PLO, and I see a different story. So my hair says differently, but I do see where you're coming from in that situation too. And yeah, I don't think about it too often, but once in a while, lately I've been thinking about, I'm like, man, what would happen if I would have stayed? Because then I could have played I could have played No Limit Hold'em tournaments as well too, and I would have been able to know what I'm doing at them.
Yeah. It is. I mean, it is interesting. Like, you are a young, good-looking, intelligent, a man that means no introduction, GPI nominated, blogger of the year, holds the Guinness Book of World Records for most hands played in a session with caffeine, Red Bull, all this stuff. Poppy, GTO, Chicago Joey. Anyways, my point is that like you're still this young guy. You know, and I'm like an old married man with a dog. You know, I'm gonna be having a family here. Like, I can't afford to like have these Ryan Fee like graphs. Like that would just, I mean, I might end up getting divorced, honestly. Like,
well, that's not good. Okay.
When I was going through this like Twitter thing 2 days ago, I was like looking at my phone for an entire day, and it was like affecting my mood. And my wife was like, "Yo, can you put the phone down and like not be in a bad mood?" I can't imagine if I was having a graph that looked like Ryan Fee's graph.
How old are you?
38.
Okay. Yeah, I thought you were a little bit older than me, a couple years older than me. Yeah.
How old are you?
I'm 33, but no, it's not a Guinness Book World Record. It's an unofficial, because it would have cost about a few $1,000s to get the Guinness, because I looked into getting Guinness to come out and verify it as the most hands ever played in a day. And yeah, it was way too much money. I certainly could not. It would have been like a quarter of my bankroll or something like that at the time. So I couldn't afford to. But it's an unofficial Poker World Record, and I have that record for both PLO and No Limit, and for most hands in a day and a month. So that was when I had heart. That was when I had soul. That was when I had a lot more energy and heart. And now my energy is way more spread out in the world, whereas then it was poker all day long. So, but that was a good intro, Johnny. I like that. That was Yeah, I don't know where these intros come from, bro. I don't know where I get them. Even when I'm with my friends, I hype them up like the same way too. If I'm with someone and we go meet new people, I say this is what I'm like, Big J, Hungry Man. You know, I go, oh, this is Big J, Hungry Man, Wizard, one of the best video editors in the entire world. I've never seen a man edit videos like this. You can bring this guy anywhere. He talks to anybody. He gets along with anyone out there. The women love him. The men love him. The people love him. The grandmas love him. I ain't never seen anything like this kid, man. Hungry Man. And then usually I give him that introduction, and that's why he's now traveling the world with DJs, and he's making a name for himself because you know, he does have all that for himself too. So
yeah, it's I've never met Jonah, but we became Facebook or Instagram friends. And there's actually there's like a handful of people that I follow on Instagram, Jonah being one of them, where we've become like kind of good friends, just like internet friends. And another guy that I've never met before that I'm actually really good friends with through social media is Corey Whalen. And he actually sent me a message the other day, and he was like, yo, I just want to let you know that I feel like you're one of my good friends. I really appreciate the inspiration that you put out, and I feel like we're on like the same vibe. I just want to let you know that like keep doing your thing, and I really appreciate you. That's like so sick to get that from people that you've never met in real life. And that's why I honestly can say that like I feel like he's a friend of mine. Same thing with Jonah. It's like that guy. He's just I can just tell based on his stories. He's cool as fuck. Like I like that guy.
Yeah, I think that is a really cool thing about social media, the internet right now, is that you can have these connections and get to know someone through their story and their post and through DMs and that type of stuff like that. And you can build these friendships with people all over the world. As you said, some people that you've never met before in real life as well too. Then when you do get to see those people, it's like, holy shit, you're real. Wow, you're in the flesh right here. So I think that is one of the coolest things of kind of having a position where you can access a lot of people and people want to talk to you, or people want to get to know you.
Our relationship is pretty not dissimilar to that. I think like prior to this weekend, I mean, how many times have I seen you in person? I saw you once on walking downtown with my dad.
Yeah, we talked about there. Yeah, when was I with my family too, or was
you were
I
with your mom? Yeah.
Yeah, it was my mom. That was pretty wild right there. I was with my mom, and my stepdad, I believe. I think he was around the mix there too. So, yeah, that
allegedly.
Oh yeah. Friend. Yeah. I know who I was with at that time too. So.
Yeah, but no, it's not dissimilar. Like I mostly have become your friend through interaction, through social media, through DMs, through just saying what's up.
Messages. Yeah, definitely. Now I remember the first time we met though. I think we might have talked about this in the last pod, but the first time we met, I think I was staying at Brian's house, Asher's house, and Flo's house in San Diego, right? And then I was sleeping on the couch for a week or so like that. And then we went out one night, and then you were there, and I was like, "Oh, who's this?" Like, "Oh, he DJs." And I said, "Oh, that's cool." And then we went out, had a good time, and then that was I think that was probably the first time I ever met you. Actually, that was 2012 or 13 too. That was a long time ago.
I think it's crazy that they introduced me as somebody that DJs.
That's what they said. They're like, "Oh, he's a DJ." I was like, "Oh, cool." And that's when you started playing poker. I was like, I thought that guy was a DJ.
I think a lot of people thought that.
Guy.
Yeah, I think a lot of people thought that because, like, as a cash game player, I would never post anything about poker. Like, poker was just like my way of making money. I wasn't I didn't really care about that. But like, when you're DJing and like making music and putting music out there, that's where like promotion comes in. And you're like posting, like, check out my new mix, and like, so like my facing of the public world was I'm a DJ kind of, whereas like, but my real life was actually I'm a poker player that like likes to make music sometimes.
Yeah, no, that makes sense, man. Yeah, that was my. I just remember the first time I think I saw you, like, I think it was content wise, and I was just. It took a second. I was like, wait, I'm pretty sure guys. I think I was a music guy.
Yeah.
I just thought he was the nightlife guy. I was like, oh, this guy must be big into the nightlife. Like, love going to the clubs, love getting after it, love having a good time, dancing, kind of like that sort of thing. Like
I mean, I was that guy for like 3 years in Vegas when I was living in Vegas. I spent literally every single dollar that I would ever make in poker, either traveling or spending money at excess or any of those clubs. I was like very frivolous. I remember one time, I think I might have talked about this before, but I went to Sweden and stayed there for a summer and spent like every single dollar I had, to the point of where I had to message Christy and say, "Hey, I have no money. Can you buy me a plane ticket to come home back to the United States?"
Yeah, I think you talked about that last pod. Maybe I think you might have. Yeah, I believe you went into that story. Yeah, I mean, first of all, I don't know how you do that, but are you keeping track of the money? You're like, hey, I'm getting a little low. Maybe I shouldn't spend any money.
Yeah,
here.
I got down to like 5K or something, and I was like, I should probably go play poker. So I flew to Barcelona. I was gonna play for a weekend. My plan was to win like 15,000 in like a little short amount of time, but I lost the whole 5K, and I was like, well, okay, now I can't. I have to go back home from Barcelona now. So like then I flew from Barcelona to Vegas, and then started playing. And then I played in Vegas and won all. Like I had supreme confidence in my poker ability. That like the games were obviously so soft back then as well. That like if I ran it down to 0, I could like run it back up in no time.
Mm-hmm. Johnny, I'm gonna have to give a couple shout outs here. I gotta go pee badly, and I don't want to pull Antonio Esfandiari and go pee in.
Yeah, hold on. I gotta put
in this cup right here.
The YouTube channel.
Okay, get that YouTube chat up, okay?
Yeah.
Guys, we're gonna leave it on Johnny for a second here while I go to the bathroom. I'm sorry, I don't want to.
All right, let's see what we got. Oh, we got Patrick Curran in the chat.
Shit. Fuck. Get me out.
Patrick Curran, what's up, man? Shout out to Patrick Curran. He has helped me a lot with video and with photos, and he's a sick up and comer. He's the graphics guy at Live at the Bike. Can't give that guy too many shout outs. Jamin, of course, we got to give. Oh, Taylor Carroll. Taylor Carroll was one of the people texting me that wanted me to give some bang bangs for Doug Polk, but sorry to disappoint you, Taylor Carroll. Sam Lee, what's up, man? What's up, Nick Haywood? Much respect to you too, man. Shout out to Wayne Comover. Interesting name. Plato Poker, one of my investors, Plato Poker. Shout out to Plato Poker. He actually bought a piece of me in the main event as well last year. I appreciate you, Plato. Who else? Attention to Mr. Detail. What's up? Stretchy One from Fort Wayne, Indiana, my dude. Stretchy One. His name is Danny Phillips. Danny Phillips was one of the first people to inspire my little brother to take poker seriously. I remember my brother came to me and he was like, this guy, Danny, he's like running the underground poker scene in Fort Wayne, Indiana. And for some reason, he like always knows what people have. He's always winning. So I feel like because he can do it, I can do it. And he like inspired my brother to get into it. So shout out to you, Danny Phillips. Always been supporting us. I appreciate you.
Is he in the chat right now, or is he a name?
He is in the chat. Yeah. Okay. Shout out to Jeff Zielinski, Wayne Chang. I want to give shout out to Wayne Chang because I think he's one of the most underrated announcers in the game. He really knows this stuff, and he's diplomatic. He's never throwing recreational players under the bus, and I think that he's spot on with the way that he announces the game. Shout out to Live at the Bike in general for setting up these amazing games.
Have you heard Wayne commentate Pop Omaha before?
I have not.
Okay. Wayne's my guy. Shout out to Wayne, man. Wayne, I got a lot of love, man. That dude's fucking awesome. He's always in the support. Always in the chat supporting and playing a lot of Pop Omaha. Plays all the games too. It seems like, and he does.
Shout out to John Belding. I will see you at the Solve for Why thing in May as well. Shout out to Watbury. Man, there's so many people that I want to give shout outs to.
Keep it going.
Yeah. All right, man. Sandy Joy. Thank you, everyone. Poppy, but I can't do it like you. For some reason, you have this
you got
thing. I have this thing inside of you.
I don't know where it comes from, okay? Because I give shout outs the same way I commentate fights. I don't like know, but it comes out sometimes to me, so I'm led to believe this is my natural self, and I suppress because I can't act like this all the time because people are gonna think I'm fucking nuts, which I probably am.
You are kind of nuts, though. Yeah.
I agree, I am, but then sometimes I just get so loud, and I'm like, and I'm not. It's not loud like Doug, or Doug's just yelling. Sometimes I'm more loud like an insane person. I feel like so. I'm just passionate. I'm passionate and energetic about things. And especially about shout out. I love the shout outs, man. I don't know. It's just, I love it, man. We got these people in here, man. We got Parkour. You know Parkour? You know him?
I actually watched one of his vlogs, and I think that he's very entertaining.
Yeah.
And so just because it's not my vibe or not my style to go after people on social, I actually appreciate that Ryan's not afraid to go after people, and he went after
New York Poker King.
yes, exactly. And people need to do that. Like if somebody like New York Poker King is like stepping out of line, then somebody with a voice needs to keep him accountable. And
Well,
that's what
luckily,
Ryan.
I also made a video after that too on this guy. I don't want to say that about. I don't get an update on the situation. I've talked with him since then about what would happen with that, and I don't really know where they stand. But yes, I agree with you. I think Ryan, his video is fucking hilarious that he made about that.
It is really good. So yeah, I appreciate Ryan for doing things like that, which is the same reason why I appreciate Doug for doing things like that. Obviously, just like getting into the delivery a little bit, but the point is that no, I like Ryan.
Yeah, I like him too, man. We got some cool vloggers coming up, bro. Listen, I think we're in the infancy stages right now because what happened was we had the poker celebrities, the Phil Locks, the Antonio Sfondiaris, those people of the world who got well known in the 2000s, 2010, 11 to 2014, 15. Not many really new people out there for the most part. And now we have a new generation of people that are becoming known in the poker world. And a lot of those guys are vloggers and streamers. And we're still in that year 1, year 2 phase of things where what happens when we're in year 6, year 7, like a lot of these older school pros got who became these very big names. So I think we're really going to see a live poker is only going to get bigger and bigger and bigger as more people start to vlog, as people get bigger in the vlog space and the stream space, as strategies get better. Some point in time, someone's going to get it mainstream, man. At some point in time, there's going to be a poker vlogger who breaks through on some level. Maybe he's already in there now, or she's already here now, or it's somebody brand new. They're going to come in with a strategy. It's going to crush it. It's going to break through mainstream on YouTube. And who knows what will happen at that point in time. But I really, it looks up for the poker celebrity influencer, sort of these well-known people of the world. And it's good because we need that. And we haven't had that in a while of people who actually promote the game, because a lot of those old school pros don't promote the game anymore. They're just making appearances, making some money off these appearances, making money off their name that they built up in the 2000s. And they're not really publicly out there getting after it, showing love for poker anymore.
Yeah, one thing that's really interesting is the path to celebrity within poker was always ESPN. When you and I were coming up, ESPN was like highlighting them, giving them nicknames, Mike the Mouth Mattisau.
Uh-oh, Johnny froze. Come back.
Yeah, and like we don't have ESPN anymore. ESPN's not covering poker events. So the path to quote unquote celebrity through poker is through social media. And the number one way to capture someone's attention through story, in my opinion, is through YouTube. Because they're fixated on your story, your face, for multiple minutes at a time. The number one way to capture someone through the strategy and through the gameplay of poker, I think, would be streaming and like building up a name through streaming. So I think that you're right, man. Twitch, YouTube, like if you want to create a name for yourself in poker, which this is something that I always go back to though. It's like that, I feel like that's just not the path that you should take. You should stream because you think that playing poker is fun and you think streaming is fun. You shouldn't stream because you want to be popular. You shouldn't make YouTube videos because you want to be popular. You should make YouTube videos because you think it's fun and because you like playing poker. I think so many people get into it because they put the fame or the celebrity as like primary reason for them doing it. So many times I've had people message me saying, "Hey, what's your strategy for getting views?" Or like, can you give me a tip on like how you became a poker celebrity?" And I'm like this is just the foundation of this question is just so off. I'm like, do you like playing poker? Yeah. Do you like making YouTube videos? Do you like making piecing together videos? No, I don't like. I mean, I don't make video. I've never made a video before. And I'm like, well, why don't you make a video and see if you even like it, and if it's fun for you, rather than thinking like you just want to make videos to be a celebrity. It's just so backwards.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just kind of make the content I want to make, and some of them doesn't always get the best views than others on the YouTube streets. You know, I kind of know what gets the views on YouTube streets, and a video about America's Cardroom CEO Phil Nagy. You know, people don't give a fuck. I understand that, but I like making videos like that. I want to get this guy on because I think it's great for the poker ecosystem and for American poker players. But I think that's the question each person out there asks. And what do they want to be about? Do they want to be famous? Or I don't think poker is the best avenue for that, to do that really in, because I don't know, it's a good place to be famous in. I mean, like, what are you getting exactly for being famous in poker? A bunch of dudes talking to you. I don't know. I don't know why you'd want that really a lot of times. So unless you love poker and love making content, I don't think the perks are that good. I mean, you get to travel to these places a lot, but I guess that is a cool perk too. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I would do again if I had to do it over again. I'd play esports, I'm sure, or do.
Yeah, it's interesting because something that we're going back to Doug again, but something that Doug said was that every person that's creating content, their goal is to play nice and to land a sponsorship with an internet company where they can just like have the sponsorship dollars rolling in. And I think that that's just like, that's out of touch and it's totally false. I'm not making videos so that I can get sponsored by some online poker company. Like, I don't even play online poker. Sure, if like online poker was in the United States and I could play online poker and it was something that I enjoyed, then maybe I would like be sponsored by them. But like, my goal is not that. My goal is to have fun, travel, make a video diary. Beyond that, like, sure, like if I wasn't making money playing poker, maybe I'd have to be a little bit desperate and sell it for views, but that's just never going to be me. If I'm not making money playing poker and it's not working out for me and I'm like failing, I'm going to quit the YouTube thing and I'm going to like navigate into something where I like, that's challenging me and it's fun.
Mainstream vlogs. Bring that high quality vlog to the mainstream, Johnnie Vibes. Then you start making some money on YouTube once you get to that point.
Yeah, there's actually so high quality videos on YouTube are something that I consume. And there's a friend of mine that I met through Zed the DJ. His name is Matt Como, and he makes videos on and he puts them on YouTube. This guy is just absolutely mind-blowing with his videos. And that's what I call high quality. When you watch this guy's video, that's what's high quality.
Isn't this guy a singer too?
What was that? No. Yeah. He does music videos and he travels the world and he used to do content for GoPro.
What's the person's name? Matt what?
Matt Como.
Koma?
Komo. Matt Como.
Oh, Como. Okay.
When you watch one of his videos, it will blow your mind. And this is what high quality means. So like, for everybody that's watching and wants to know what high quality video is, go to his video. He doesn't make vlogs, but to get to that level of making videos, you obviously have to dedicate your life to it. Like, I'm a jack of all trades guy. I know a little bit about lighting, exposure, editing, storytelling, but like, I'm no pro. I'm like pretty good at piecing together a video, but these guys are something sick. And that's why it's going to be really hard for somebody from the poker industry to break through into the mainstream, because you're going to need a team kind of like Doug has with Thomas, who puts together his videos. Thomas is obviously very talented at video editing and doing those types of things. You're going to need someone like that to partner with you to create something that's magical that could go mainstream. Mm-hmm. And right now I'm a one-man show that's doing it on my own. I'm like decent. They're high quality for sure, but they're not the highest quality outside of the poker genre if we're comparing all genres.
Johnny, I think we all know the person who's going to be the one to break through with the mainstream with some sort of content is going to be my investigation series that I do, whether it's on fights or other topics. That's what's going to happen. But
yeah, people love drama.
They love a drama. My God. In poker, I don't really like creating drama in poker because it makes me uncomfortable because it's my space. But I love drama in MMA. I love it. I love it in NBA too. I love it in esports. I mean, not esports. Those guys fucking cry a lot. But I guess I don't like it in esports as much.
Yeah. But. So like in the NBA, give me some drama. Like Jordan versus Bird.
Well, I mean, just the whole entire LeBron situation is just drama on its own. Russell Westbrook going back and forth with Damian Lillard in the playoffs. Or
okay, let's stop right there. Okay. Russell Westbrook, Damian Lillard. Right? People love that stuff.
Yes.
Right? That's me and Francisco. That's like Doug Polk and Matt Berkey. That's like these rivalries within poker. It's not necessarily drama, it's rivalries, and those are fun.
And that's the big difference, is that in poker, for some reason, we we don't like it. We don't want to promote it, or they don't want the media to talk about it. If people bring it up, they're like, all right, stop the drama. Whereas in NBA, it's the biggest story and the media covers it. They talk about it 24 hours on ESPN. Podcasts, they're breaking it down. You know what I'm saying? Like, when there's drama that happens in these other things, and that's why these other things are so popular, I think, is because there is more interest in the dramaticness that takes place amongst the people in the industry. Whereas in poker, people are always like, let's stay away from it. And I understand it makes it uncomfortable.
Do you think that that's the case though? Like, there was a heads up match between
Kate Hall and Mike Dentale. Yes, that was
exactly. Do you think that that was a negative thing? Do you think that that was like bad for poker, or do you think that that was fun and a rivalry?
I thought that was fun.
Exactly. I think that it's fun too.
Like this stuff, they seem to not like, if you post something and Doug's talking about the fake positive people. Well, I guess people did love that clip. They like, I guess they like the drama.
Yeah, I think that as long as it's like semi-healthy and decent, like like if Doug's calling me a scammer,
I think that's like I talked to him
that's
about.
like crossing the line. But like if it's like a little trash talk here and there, then I think it could be fun.
I think so too. I don't know. The media in poker should study the media in NBA and see what they do and try to recreate that, because media in NBA, media in UFC, they're just light years ahead of a lot of other corporations, companies, and sports and entities, and they do a tremendous job of consistently promote. I mean, obviously there's a lot more money involved, so there's more incentive to promote this at a higher level. And ESPN, they have $1 billion contract with the NBA or with these sports leagues, and so they're very incentivized to promote it. Whereas in poker, it's not necessarily the same. Even though Poker News has a deal with PokerStars, owns Poker News, you'd think Poker News would or PokerStars would have more incentive to put more money into the promotion of the top players in the game, especially those that are signed with PokerStars, like Alex Feldhaus. But I guess we don't see that. So,
have you ever thought about doing a MMA podcast?
Oh man, yes, but I'm a little scared. I'm nervous.
What are you scared about?
I don't know. I guess branching out to that world. I think I'm just a little scared of really breaking away from poker and then not coming back to poker, because I just love playing. I love the game. I love popping up so much. I just love, like last night I was so happy playing, and I still get so happy playing the game. And I do think that just from the experience I had before, that once I like leave, I don't think I'm going to be hopping back in both out. Really, I think I'll probably go full force.
You don't think that you can do both at the same time?
No, I wouldn't do that. I don't think so. No.
Interesting. No. I mean, that's kind of like how I've been living my life. Is I've just been doing a lot of things that I've just been following my curiosity, And if I thought that coaching would be fun. I thought that I would really like one-on-one coaching, and I started doing it. And I noticed that I was like discussing a lot of the same topics over and over with people, and it wasn't like mentally stimulating me as much.
Yeah.
And I wasn't enjoying it as much as I thought. So then I was like, you know what? I'm going to cut back on my coaching schedule, and I'm not going to do it as much. I'm only going to coach these couple people that I'm currently coaching because I really like them, etc. So like, just because it doesn't work out for you doesn't mean you can't pull back.
Right. That actually happened to me. That's why I took a break from podcasting, because that same thing happened to me, where I would do some poker pods, but I just wasn't that interested in kind of discussing more of the topics that I was going down at that time. And that was a big reason why I want to take a step back and sort of figure out what I want the pod to be about, what kind of topics I want to talk about, and do I really want to keep playing a lot of poker, because I know how poker can take over my life. And then that's why when I came back, I decided, I still love playing. I played a lot this year, put a pretty solid month and a half there, and the results went, we didn't lose very often. So I kind of go back to your theory about the 2-5 game and the 1-2-5 game. Yeah, I think even for that low stakes PLO, it's hard to lose at that game, man. I think you can have a large majority of your sessions are going to be winning sessions playing that game. So
that's crazy at PLO, even with variance through the roof.
Right. I mean, it's just like a simple thing. If there aren't many professionals in the game who are winning a bunch of money, you can figure out a strategy that's going to limit your variance in a lot of ways. And even if you don't, these players are just making such bad plays that you're going to be able to capitalize on it if you know how to capitalize on it without playing super, super tight style. So that's my big takeaway from playing. I think I played maybe, 40 sessions of 125. I think I've lost maybe 4 or 5 of them. And the 2 or 3 that I lost, I was playing very badly those sessions, and I should have lost. And 2, I ran bad. Then the other sessions, it's a matter of how much you win.
Well, the other sessions that you lost, probably Sasha was playing with you.
Oh man! Luckily, Sasha is dedicating herself to tournaments. Thank the Lord, because no one makes my life hell more. I caught her bluffing last night for the first time in my life. I've never caught her bluffing. She always has top of her range every time I call her down light. But no, she's very focused on tournament right now. She's gonna have big summer. I'm super excited for her because she's put together a big package. And
did she sell at markup?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I definitely sold at markup for sure.
What was her markup?
I think her markup is 1.33 right now, but it might be lower. So I think it's 1.33. I'm not sure if she lowered it or not.
I think that she should raise it.
Believe me, she was terrified when this whole markup. She's like, "Oh my God, are they gonna like yell at me? Am I gonna? I don't want people to, you know what I'm saying?" Like she was.
I got that general feeling because when she posted that she was going to be selling action, there was like 5 tweets.
Right.
Like her explaining, and like I don't blame her. You know, after the barbecue that I was put through.
It was directly because of that. Like she's talking to me about it. She's like, "Do you think I should wait? Like, do you think I should put it up now? Like, I don't want to. Like, I don't want them to be mad at me. I don't want them to hate me and all this stuff like that." I'm like, "Listen, girl, you've been studying. You work your ass off. If anyone wants to ask, they can have a conversation with me. I know how much work you're putting in, how much effort you're putting in. This is your main focus, and this is what you want more than anything else." So
yeah,
I told her,
actually I've never talked to Sasha in person, but we follow each other on social media, and she just seems like a really cool girl. Like And the other thing that I gather from social media, and maybe the narrative that's been like told through your social media and her social media, is that she's been owning your ass.
Yeah, here's the thing, right? And she's probably gonna watch this. Hopefully, I don't think this will make her mad, but I can never say I beat her publicly because then I think she gets mad at me. So that's not true. I will destroy her anytime she wants to play heads up. I attempt to destroy, but I mean, at the same time, I don't want to.
Oh, wait, hold on. Is a rivalry developing here?
No, there's got 100%. There's been a rivalry chase. The first time we played together at the poker table was when I lost the biggest pot I've ever lost in my entire life at 2-5-10. And then the second time, she knocked over all of my chips. I had $4,500 in chips at the 2-5 table, and she just knocked them all over on me. And I was like, what did you just, what? I didn't even know her at that point in time. I met her one time before that, and I was like, what the hell did you do? And then she like hit me on the face.
And then you asked her to be your girlfriend, right? Like right after that.
Yeah, of course. Listen, that got me. I asked her to hang out. We started hanging out. We hit it off first time we hung out, and then after that, it's been
it's been tumultuous
friendship, tumultuous relationship, some periods of time. But I mean, she's one of the coolest people I ever met in my life, sweetest girl ever, and honestly works super hard at poker, man. Always studying. Last night she's in bed. She studies she's Nick Petrangelo course or something like that. I think she's hitting that course pretty hard right now. That's the main one she's been studying, and I don't know, playing the tournament today. She's I
haven't looked at her package, but I'm definitely gonna be sweating her and rooting for her.
Yeah, me too. Me too, man. Me too. I hope so.
Are we going to see you in any tournaments this summer, Poppy?
Oh, Pot Limit Omaha, brother. Pot Limit Omaha. I'm going to play 10K. I'm going to play 25K. I'm going to play 3K 6 max.
What kind of content are we going to be seeing from you this summer?
I don't know, buddy. It's a good question. Not sure. I honestly, I think right now I'm in week 2 of getting back with content. And my first couple weeks back, I just wanted to schedule a podcast with the people that I liked. I wanted to get some of these out there before I dove deep into some sort of real strategic breakdown thought of what I'm going to do in the future, because I just wanted to show myself that I still wanted to do this and that I still could do it at a level that people really enjoyed. And from the feedback I'm getting out there now, it seems like I'm doing that pretty well. So I think right now, I'm not sure what I'm going to do, Johnny. I know you got that you're going to have awesome series going on. I can't see myself really wanting to do vlog type stuff, maybe some PLO stuff, but I think it'd be great for PLO. But I don't know, man. I'm not studying anything right now.
I think that, honestly, I think that you've been absolutely killing it. Like, from someone that is in the space, I just want to give you your props on the last short little stint that you've gone back into it. I think that you've been absolutely killing it with the guests.
And I think that the poker community wants you to keep it up, man.
Thank you, brother. I mean, it's it's always I mean, it's great to hear messages like that, and it's funny, when I wasn't playing as much, the Instagram messages I get were a little different than they are when you're doing content, because people, you help them out more with the content you put out there. As you mentioned, you get a lot of messages like that too from vlogging, and that is crazy to see, first of all. But then I kind of come back and I think about the idea of success in content, and I think a lot of it, we talk about views for vlogs and stuff like that, and I know the stuff I put out there isn't going to get the most amount of views, especially with podcasting, and the people you have on dependent a lot, and they're 2 hours, and people that want to watch a 2-hour podcast or listen on iTunes is already small to begin with, and then you factor in poker, it's even smaller. So I know that it's going to take some time to build up my audience back up, because when you don't do videos on YouTube for so long, it just drops off. And the people that used to watch your shit, I've met a lot of people, Johnny, it's kind of made me sad, actually, buddy, was I was in PCA, and I talked with 3 people, and they were like, man, I used to love your podcast, but I haven't want to watch it anymore. He's like, you stopped doing it. You stopped uploading to iTunes, or you stopped doing them consistently. And now I just watch something else. And I was like, fuck, man, that sucks, right? Like that definitely hurt my feelings a little bit, because I understand too, but I was like, man, it's only my fault to blame. You know what I'm saying? Like it's only my fault for dealing with how I dealt with my shit like that. So I think
that if you keep it up, dare I say that you might be nominated for Podcaster of the Year next year.
Mm-hmm.
If I keep up the vlogs, maybe I'll be nominated for Vlogger of the Year next year.
I think so.
We can both aspire.
I think so, man. Yeah, I think so. We were both nominated, or I was nominated for a lot. Yeah, I mean, come on. Whatever. Yeah, I mean, I just thought about that for a second. I saw that. I'm like, come on, man. I get it. You guys don't understand, but come on, man. It's like, I just feel bad for the guys that are vlogging out there. I mean, I know you were working your fucking ass off on these things right there, man. You got Jamin out there, man, working his ass off in the chat right now. He's always, what I'm saying, man, I think it's just really unfair. And that's why I wanted to start my own awards, because I was like, this is just fucking these guys deserve to be recognized too for their hard work, and I deserve to be recognized for the work that I put in, but in my own category, not for Vlogger of the Year, which you have people that are working hard at editing 15 hours, 20 hours in these fucking vlogs, man. So
yeah, I really hope they expand the categories, because I think like you did some research and you came up with some really cool categories in conjunction with Ryan Feldman. I know you guys had a little back and forth.
Yep.
I think there's like a big opportunity.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I was texting.
And it actually in its current state, the way that it was, the GPI awards, the way that they were, it actually didn't bother me too much that I wasn't nominated for Vlogger of the Year, because it just showed me that like they were kind of out of touch and they didn't really like know what was going on. But when I was nominated for Poker Personality of the Year, that actually like hit home for me, because that had nothing to do with the GPI. That was fan nominated, which means that people had to go to their computer and type in, I want Johnny to be nominated for this category. And that was like kind of overwhelming. That I started making videos barely over a year ago. Like the very beginning of 2018 is when I started making videos, the very end of 2017. And within 1 year, I had enough people go on the internet and say, I want Johnny to be nominated for Poker Personality of the Year. I was just like blown away, humbled. It was the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Congratulations, brother. That is really cool, man. I mean, it's obviously a good feeling to be recognized by fans or by anyone for anything. I mean, listen, by anyone for anything, really. Sometimes I think you don't get much of that in poker. So
no, not at all.
It's cool to get that, however you get it.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is that like I started making content when I was 36 years old. Like, there's so many kids out there that have all the time in the world, or like the major point is here is like never too late to start anything and have it be successful. And like shit, like I could leave this industry tomorrow and start something and be successful at 38 now. It's like kind of like re-inspired me that your life is never over. You can always like pivot and do something else and be successful at it.
No, that's a good point. I think
that's why tournaments are next. Tournament vibes are coming. I'm gonna play the
Tournament Vibes. Is that the name we're going with? Tournament Vibes?
TV.
You know what it is. You know the vibes. Let's go, baby. Tournament player Poppy might need to come out too. TPP might be coming back. Yeah. I might go late reg the fucking main event and run it up Reno right now, brother. Hold on a second. What time we got here? Late reg
yesterday. late read yesterday.
No, I'm not going to do it. Andrew Nemi says, he wants a mic. Okay. Okay. That's strange. I'm going to give him a mic. So, all right, guys, we have anything else we want to talk about? I feel like we're about 250 at 2.5 hours, and I was trying to keep this one about an hour, and I did well. We kept it 2.5 hours. I'm liking it right now.
It was a great talk, man. I had a lot of fun chatting it up with you.
Yeah, brother. Great to have you back on because, like I said, Doug made those comments. I think it's only fair, man, kind of have you on here, talk more about that and at least give you a platform to speak your mind on what these people are kind of saying. And yeah, I feel like you did that pretty well, man. So thank you very much for coming on here, kind of doing this impromptu while we're here in Reno. Not the most setup, not the most promotion for it, but I think it was a necessary podcast to get out there and, hopefully things go well this summer for you and you prove some of those people wrong that were doubting that ROI that they magically came up with that you have. So, and then people in the chat, I appreciate all you guys very, very much, man. A lot of comments, a lot of love out there. It's That's Gonna Be Back podcast, and I'll be back Monday. I think we're doing a candlelight edition with Alex Foxon on Monday night, the #1 GPI player in the entire world. One of the hottest streaks I've ever fucking seen in my entire life from tournament poker player. Candlelight edition Monday night. I believe this is gonna be late, guys, like 10 p.m. Eastern time or something like that. So you guys can tune in for a high quality podcast. Then Johnny, when's the next high quality vlog coming out, brother?
I think we're gonna be discussing this trip here in Reno. Regardless of the outcome, there's gonna be a high quality vlog behind it.
Make sure we get the podcast in the high quality vlog. I'm trying to get a peace sign. We'll take this part out. That's my. All
right, you know what? Let's get a thumbnail for my high quality vlog that's going to be coming out. Okay. Johnnie Vibes fires on the main event at Run It Up Reno.
All right, Doug, calm down over there, Doug. Calm down, bro. Those thumbnails are ridiculous. I think Marley might have done something like that too. I think she was like, I don't know. It is what it is. Guys in the chat, that's it. That's all we got. You want to follow Johnny, check him out. Instagram, Johnnie Vibes. Twitter, Johnnie Vibes.
Johnnie Vibes.
YouTube, of course, Johnnie Vibes too. And that's it, guys. Much love. If you want to follow our trips, man, and how things are going with us, Instagram story is probably the place to do it for myself or for Johnny as well too. We'll be getting some cash game action in tonight, hopefully, and we're going to be fucking owning them. That's what it is.
You know what? I might play some PLO with you tonight. We'll see.
Okay. You got to prepare for tomorrow, bro.
Allegedly.
You got day 2 going on, kid. All right, guys. That's it. Peace out.